experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other. Leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, Teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because when people don't have to worry about where their next meal is coming from, they can truly thrive, like Marta.
And now we'll hear from our class valedictorian, who with our hard work never ceases to amaze us. Please welcome Marta Moreno.
And Alex.
Hey, Alex, how did the interview go?
I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
I knew it. Let's meet up later to celebrate.
And Diego.
Mom! I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow. feedingamerica.org/actnow. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
WTMJ.
Good evening and welcome. You're listening to Impact 2024. He's John McCure. I'm Dr. Ken Harris. We're live on 101.7 The Truth and 620 WTMJ. We'll be here for the next 3 hours. I think John has already found a ride out of here.
I'm only here 2 hours.
8 o'clock, and then...
Do 7:30? Can I get out at 7:30?
Sure, absolutely.
I love hanging out with you. This is
DT and Tully will be joining us later in the 7 o'clock hour, and then we'll be on till 9 o'clock on 101.7 The Truth. I think it's important. You know, I'm looking over here at one of our colleagues, Fox 6, and they're packing everything in the little wagon, and they're carrying it away. Remember when we used to have to carry all that stuff, right?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Back in the day. And so times have changed, and so have political parties. We now have where, you know, we may have to put Grandpa in a wagon and kind of roll him out of here. And I think it's unfortunate because everybody has the question, like you brought up before the break. Will Kamala Harris have the chutzpah, I think that's the word I used yesterday, the mashugana, to say, hey, I got this and I can do it. Now, she was on a news conference today. You know, she gave a speech today, and it was a different speech. I watched the entire thing, and the reason it was a different speech is because I found the speech on Fox Business.
Oh, interesting.
And I thought that was pretty interesting that now they're starting to broaden her name, put her in places, and there was no giggling, there was no smiling, it was very, you know, a couple of her words she used and phrases, I'm thinking to myself, millennials don't know what that means.
Yep.
You know, millennials don't know those types of things. But for the most part, I think she's testing the waters to see if there's an open convention, can she swing it?
So the reporting, if you're just joining us, is, and it's just sourced reporting, no confirmation of anything, that Joe Biden will not endorse Kamala Harris, and there will be an open convention. I personally find that hard to believe. I find that very, very hard to believe. But Mark Halperin, a respected journalist, is reporting that. That is according to his sources. So the polling shows that in many battleground states, Kamala Harris polls worse against Donald Trump than Joe Biden, even a diminished Joe Biden.
However, who's a running mate? And that is the unknown X factor, no pun intended, that's going to decide whether or not it's a comparable race, you know, whether or not one can at least pull within a point or two. Because once you get within 2 or 3 points, it's a horse apiece.
This is going to be very interesting to watch. So if it is Kamala Harris and we don't know who her running mate is, which is a big X factor, can Kamala Harris beat Donald Trump?
I say yes, with the right running mate.
Historically, though, the running mate, you know as well as I do, just doesn't matter. When was the last time that a running mate helped a guy at the top of the candidate enough that it made a difference in more than one state?
Barack Hussein Obama. it was imperative they pick somebody that was diametrically opposed so that everybody saw themselves when they looked at the stage, and he won.
I don't think it was his running mate. I don't think that's why he won.
Okay.
He won because he was dynamic. He was charismatic. He was viewed as fresh.
In communities I heard in Chicago, they were looking for themselves. They found that in Joe Biden.
But he was going to win in Illinois. He could literally have a stuffed shirt up there, and he would have won Illinois.
But are you saying Illinois is okay?
Come on. There's like 3 Republicans in the whole state.
That's true. However, I look at it, and I looked at it, and I understand the choice of a Joe Biden because he had been in Congress. I'm sorry, he had been in the Senate for so long.
Right.
So you've got instant credibility with senators. You've got instant credibility with all the white males around the country who said, well, I don't know this guy, and he wasn't born here, and all the ridiculousness that went along with it. But you also had this young, charismatic African-American who, and I think this was the key, nobody looked at them as being African-American. They looked at him as being a candidate. And between then and now, something shifted. Something in the Republican Party shifted. Something in the Democratic Party shifted. And it was like they woke up one day and said, we're going to go in opposite directions. To the point where we're going to almost tear the fabric of this entire country apart.
I think Barack Obama wins, especially his first term, no matter who his running mate is. I think
he just had it.
Yeah, you saw the crowds,
and it was also Mitt Romney. So
yep, exactly, yeah. A flawed candidate. I don't know. I just don't think historically that the running mate much matters. Okay, so who could she choose that would make up the ground that she's currently shown behind in?
Correct.
Who could she choose? Who's out there that, because there's not a lot of time. It's got to be somebody with name recognition or somebody that, so you look at the list of people, if it is Kamala Harris, who? Does she go the same route? Does she need a white male because she's Kamala Harris? Does she, who?
You've got the same 4 states, and I know we probably got to take a break.
Yeah, we do.
We've got the same 4 states that are battleground states, right? Who from Wisconsin could she call on to be a running mate?
Nobody. It's not going to be that. Our 2 top Democrats are Tammy Baldwin, who won't help her, and right. Tony Evers, who's as old as Joe Biden almost.
Right.
So not Wisconsin. So they're out.
Or it's not going to fly.
Not high enough profile.
Michigan, possibly.
If the governor Whitmer in Michigan, that's possibly an attractive candidate.
Pennsylvania.
I got to be honest, I don't know enough about Pennsylvania.
Exactly.
Is there anybody there with enough name recognition in Pennsylvania?
No. And so the only place you can go is Michigan. She's from California. That might work.
Maybe.
I'm just being the contrarian that I am.
I know you are. I think she gets. I think she gets smoked. I think all the polling data, like I said, is worse than it is for Joe Biden, and we've been talking about Joe Biden's slide.
Right.
And it's worse for Kamala Harris. Now, will it change if she becomes the presumptive nominee? Will it? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm not really good at the crystal ball, but I don't think so. I think this isn't about the Democrats anymore.
Right.
I think this is about Donald Trump. I think this is about Donald Trump rising up like a phoenix from the ashes with blood on his face. I think this is that he smacked down Joe Biden at the debate, and that wasn't so much about Biden now as it is about that gave him momentum.
Right.
I think this convention, we haven't had tonight yet, has been flawless. It's been a PR machine for Republicans.
True.
So I think all of this isn't even about Kamala Harris. It isn't about Joe Biden as much now as it's about Donald Trump and what he's been able to do and where he sits.
But we've got one thing that whoever's running against Donald Trump has on their side, and it's the same thing Donald Trump has on his side, and it's time. You've got August, September, and October. Just like we had no idea what was going to happen in those battleground states, and then an assassination attempt. We don't know what's going to happen over these next 12 weeks.
I view it differently. I think we don't have enough time if you're a Democrat. That's not a lot of time. Okay, let's say it happens over the weekend.
Right.
That the change is made. Then we have, is it 2.5, 3 weeks before the convention in Chicago, right? It's the middle of August.
That may still get disrupted.
Yep.
Because it may be an open convention.
That's what I was just going to say. So that convention will probably
blow up.
Can you imagine if there's an open convention? Yep. This is going to be fascinating.
Yes, it is.
I mean, if that actually happens, it's hard for me.
More viewership than this did.
So you've talked to Kamala Harris. I just find the scenario so hard to wrap my head around that he would not endorse Kamala Harris, that he doesn't hand it to her, that he would advocate for an open convention.
Like, you would actually stand up and say, I want a black female, an African-American woman to be my running mate, and then put her in a place to run and then not back her. That makes no sense.
Plus, I see both sides of this. Maybe they want the open convention because the polling data is so bad on Kamala Harris, so they don't think she can win either.
But they also let her go ahead and run if she wants.
Yes.
Okay.
But the flip side of that argument is it looks like more chaos. Are you really going to, now we're going to waste the next 3 weeks if you're a Democrat? And you are going to
jockey for position.
You're going to throw it open and say, we're not getting behind anybody. Good luck, everybody. We'll see you in Chicago.
Vote, figure it out. You don't have any superdelegates, so you got to put the work in.
Man, it's going to be fascinating, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And this weekend could be the weekend.
I'm buying a lot of popcorn.
Me too. I'm canceling my plans for Sunday. Because Sunday I'm going to be in front of news channels all day. I'm going to be reading everything that I can get my hands on.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm Dr. Ken Harris. He is, what's your name again?
Juan Mercure.
Good one. John Mercure.
I'm Mr. Denise Thomas.
Who was here. Wow, there you go. Who's here. Denise Thomas is showing up, and Telly's going to be here a little bit. We're going to end this, and we're going to look at this from a broader perspective by inviting other people in. And when we come back, who knows? Denise might roll in a little earlier.
Hey, let's go into Fiserv Forum when we come back, too. We got folks inside of there.
Absolutely. Go to Fiserv Forum. You're listening to Impact 2024 inside the RNC. I'm Dr. Ken Harris. He's John Mercure. We'll be right back.
We weren't sure adoption would happen for us, but when it did, it happened threefold.
Mary and her husband first met their 3 children when they became their foster parents. Little did they know that their house would become the siblings' forever home.
We had to help them adjust to the idea that they wouldn't have to leave. Children in foster care have lived and survived so much. We had to help them process their trauma. And now to hear our children say that they know they have a mother and father who take care of us, teach us, and love us means everything.
The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption is committed to finding safe, permanent homes for the longest waiting children in foster care.
I not only love these kids, I am just so proud of them.
You can help. Visit davethomasfoundation.org.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for and there they go. Almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car, and there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
What is at stake for African American voters in this election?
A great deal is at stake. Everything all the progress we've made is at stake. For example, right now we've lowered health care costs. I've been able to walk in and make sure we forgive student debt for people who are struggling to get to school. We provided billions of dollars to HBCUs to give them a fighting chance. We've changed prescription drug costs by allowing Medicare to negotiate drug prices so that people on insulin are paying $35 a month instead of $400 a month. and all prescription drugs can be limited to $2,000 a year, even though cancer drugs are $10,000, $12,000, $14,000. We're strengthening Medicare. Look, we stand up for principles. Our democracy is at stake, in fact. Look what he's doing with Putin and with Kim Jong-un of North Korea. Look at him saying, we don't think a country...
You're listening to Impact 2024, inside the RNC on WTMJ.
Harris here with John McCure, and there's another young lady who decided to, I guess after her interview with Eric Trump this morning, she decided to grace us with her presence. Denise D.T. Thomas.
I listened to that. I liked it. That was good.
Did you?
That was good. I want more of you, though, and less of the other guy that was doing the interview.
Well, thank
Is there a way for you to turn his if I wanted to come in the studio and turn his microphone off so I could just hear you?
But you do understand what that is, right? We're jealous of his voice.
Jealous of Telly's voice? Telly has an extraordinary, like his voice was born for broadcasting.
He does. He's got a great voice. He's got a great presence about him, too.
He does.
I just like you better. That's it.
Oh, thank you, John. I love you.
I just don't love fest. Dr. Kent's over there. Like, what are we doing?
And so we're here with Denise Thomas, John McCure. I'm Dr. Ken Harris. I think Greg Matzik is in the Pfizer Forum.
And Billstead, too. Eric Billstead.
They're having a party in there. What's going on, fellas?
Yes, sir. Nothing really warms up the delegates like a Steely Dan cover, right, Eric Billstead?
Right.
That's doing it, man.
It's
Everybody's
clearly working, yeah.
It is kind of a concert here tonight with the idea that Kid Rock, I was here for an opera singer's sound check. Kid Rock did a sound check about 4 hours ago. Hulk Hogan is here. I mean, it's just kind of a wild scene that's developing, but it's loud. It's cranked up, man. There's a nice crowd already on the floor, and cheese heads are being waved in the air by the Wisconsin delegation, Texas delegation, kind of waving their cowboy hats, Eric.
And one of the speakers that had just finished up here about 15 minutes ago, Diane Hendricks, you guys know that name, right? Wisconsin native, founder of ABC Supply, worth about, $20 billion? She told the group that if she can do it, being the most successful, richest, self-made businesswoman in the country, that if she can do it, so can you. So that was her message to the crowd today.
All right.
Hey,
and there's a lot of cheese heads being thrown around also.
Are you guys getting the sense in being around there and talking to delegates whether they expect Donald Trump's speech to be serene and calm like we've seen as he's entered the arena, or more feisty, aggressive, which is typical Donald Trump?
John, I was talking with Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson about this, and his feeling is that Donald Trump ending the proceedings tonight would be very similar to the way things kicked off on Monday, and that you'd have this sort of message of unifying at the beginning and at the end. But in between, it was sort of ripe for hammering the Biden administration and policies, which we saw a lot of last night, but that it would kind of start soft, Eric, and then end on a softer note.
Right, and one of the things we learned was that he had a speech written, the campaign says, and after what happened on Saturday, he decided, nope, got to redo it. So they tore up that speech, if you will, and started up another one, and this one is said to be more personal. It could have some emotional moments. His family's going to be here. Melania Trump is supposed to be here tonight. So is Ivanka tonight. So his family's here. He's supposed to have a personal speech. So you could see a different side than what we're used to when it comes to Donald.
And that's something that Ron Johnson told me he wanted to see. He said the world doesn't truly know who Donald Trump is. I speak with him frequently, talking about Ron Johnson, saying he's funny, he's engaging. It's impossible not to like Donald Trump if you get to know the real Donald Trump. And he said, I don't want him to be bombastic on stage. I want him to be his authentic self. So we'll see what kind of mood and tone is displayed on stage. But I can tell you this, there's going to be a standing ovation. There's going to be a loud ovation every time he speaks, Eric. It's going to be loud. I would bet that everybody leaving here tonight is going to have sore ab muscles from sitting, standing, right, doing that whole charade.
And the outfits are amazing. There's like Trump capes with lights on them that some people are wearing. There are mini skirts. There are Santa outfits that say Trump on them. There's everything. We have everything at this thing.
It's a scene. And the floor is packed, John. You asked about that before. It's hard to find red carpet on the floor right now.
And so rumor has it that the speech is about 31 pages, and he's going to take about an hour and a half.
Well,
That's
the campaign
long.
is hoping. The campaign is hoping for it to be shorter than that, around 55 minutes. But it will likely, if you've been to any of these before, they generally go a little bit longer.
If it's going to be an hour and a half, you might need Kid Rock to do an intermission concert just to sort of break it up a little bit. I'm not sure exactly where he's going to play in tonight's proceedings, but John will make sure we save you a seat so you can get some Kid Rock on.
Yes.
All right. Thank you much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, fellas. We appreciate it. Greg Matzik and Eric Bill said we'll check back in with you as the night goes on. Wow. Denise, what are you going to be looking for tonight?
Well, we were talking with Eric Trump, son of Donald Trump, this morning on the Truth Be Told with DT and Telly show, and we asked, what should we anticipate as American viewers? What's going to be this new speech that former President Donald Trump is going to be presenting as a result of the assassination attempt? And the short answer is that the focus is going to be unity. So unifying American voters. Now, me personally, I feel as though, former President Donald Trump is going to come out as a president.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to present himself. He's going to have the mindset and the persona, and that's going to be articulated through his remarks. It's not going to be vote for me. It's going to be more as I'm here, I'm a warrior, I'm a fighter, I survived an assassination attempt. And this is where, as you and I both spoke offline, if you are a member or a registered Democrat, right now, you are very concerned. And I'll put it to you this way. I said right now the Democratic Party feels like being a Bears fan.
That's not a good feeling.
Right. You want to believe in your team.
That's not a good feeling.
But the continuous, fumbles, incompletes, it's just not looking good. And so I am anticipating a very, I don't want to say premature, but former President Donald Trump is going to come out on that stage as number 47.
I want to hear detailed information about Saturday. And Eric Hovde, candidate for Senate, told me a couple of hours ago that he believes that Donald Trump will talk in detail about what it was like to be on the ground behind the podium, what it was like to have the bullet whiz by his ear, what it was like to be whisked into the limo, that he will really paint the picture, and this sounds like Donald Trump, of the drama, I thought I was going to die. I mean, he won't use those words, but he will paint the picture of, it'll be a lot of big language leading up to the image of the phoenix rising from the ashes, and he will give us all of that. And I kind of want to hear that. I want to hear what was going through his head when he was laying down there on the ground begging people to put his shoes on his feet.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, John, in terms of what your interest will be, because, again, when we interviewed Eric Trump this morning, he spoke from the lens of a son. He didn't speak as a businessman who is the son of the former President of the United States. He spoke as a son, and he used words like, when I found out that my father had, dodged death, and he talks about his wife, and he talks about his children, which are obviously former President Donald Trump's grandchildren. So to your point, they're going to make it very personal, because, I asked Eric Trump today, what should we anticipate? And as you had mentioned, very personal stories, very personal experiences, that it's going to be a Donald Trump that we, I believe, have never seen before as Americans, and the world is watching. This is, I guess people, we really need to understand, as Milwaukeeans, we are part of U.S. history. This will be in the textbooks. This will be part of history reflections. This will be a Netflix special for sure, where you had
and don't forget the movie
and the movie. There's never ever in the history of this country been whether it's Democrat or Republican national convention 2 days after an attempted assassination for what is to be the candidate of that party.
It is remarkable.
And I think it's important to remember that we've seen throughout the RNC the everyday American.
Which has worked.
Tonight, we're going to see the everyday Donald Trump.
Wow, that's a great way to put it. And I was walking down the street today. I was walking, I think, on Kilbourne, and I met a couple from Florida who was here, and one of the members of the couple worked for Eric Trump, coincidentally, and who's going to be speaking And he may be speaking shortly now, because what they're featuring, to Dr. Ken's point, is everyday Americans. Right. And when you think about, what Republicans believe in versus Democrats, oftentimes people associate hardworking Americans, middle class, blue collar with the Democratic Party, where Republicans, fiscally conservative, oftentimes stereotyped as elite. Oh, yeah. You're going to see a different version that's going to counter those previous stereotypes. And so I'm going to be tuned in. John, it seems like you're very excited.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to be on the floor. I'm going to be over there. I'm going to get inside the building. I can't wait to be there. I talked to delegates from Ohio today, and I was interested because they told me usually when you talk to Republican, and this is the hardest core of the hardcore here, these 2,600 people on the floor at Pfizer are not your average Waukesha County Republican. These are people who paid money to be here. These are people that raised money. These are people that would vote for this red carpet if it was the nominee. And I had two of them from Ohio tell me that they don't want to hear the fire and brimstone. Usually they want the red blood. Give it to Joe Biden. Biden's a bum. They want to hear a softer, calmer Donald Trump. And so it'll be interesting to see if that's what they get tonight.
True. And why would they, from a strategic standpoint, why attack or go after President Joe Biden when right now, like I said, I've seen more Republicans skipping down Kilbourne State, Wisconsin, than I've ever seen.
Well, that's for 5 days. Donald Trump hasn't attacked Joe Biden.
Exactly.
He hasn't had to. Get out of his way. Let Biden just get out of Biden's way. Just let Biden shuffle around if you're a Republican.
But if you think about it, what utility are you going to get by attacking an old man who's clearly sick,
right?
"Quote unquote" down on his luck,
right?
And near the end of his life and term. For you to do that would be heartless.
It would be, and it's interesting, Dr. Ken and John, is that tonight you are going to have a number of registered Democrats, delegates, lifetime Democrats that for the first time are going to be tuning in to further understand who is what could possibly be our next 47th president, who is this new Trump, who was victorious, who, looked as a patriotic warrior, on Saturday. And so again, if I were a member of the Democratic National Convention or the Democratic Party, I would be in a Zoom right now. Nobody's sleeping, nobody's eating, no one's using the restroom. We got a lot of work to do because they've got 3.5 weeks, John and Dr. Ken, to come up with who is going to be the Democratic candidate during the Democratic National Convention down the street in Chicago, August 15th.
I love your point because a Wisconsin politician who you would all know, but I can't name because it was only on background, said, I hope the president tonight is more presidential. The former president, excuse me. He said, I hope the former president tonight is more presidential than pompous. And he said, we know he can be really pompous. We hope that he takes the high road tonight.
Absolutely.
I just left Pfizer Forum. Our director of content, the Truth, Kyle Wallace, he was like, hey, you should go there and check it out. I said, you know what, I will. And again, the synergy in the room, John and Dr. Ken, is very victorious.
Is it packed already?
It's getting there. Now on the floor, it's packed. But there are obviously vendors. I mean, it is like super Trump Mart.
Yeah.
T-shirts, hats,
yes, coffee cups,
anything.
Bobbleheads are everywhere.
Step and repeats, backdrops. This is truly a Republican National Convention, and again, the synergy is just people are excited. And they have pretty much counted this as a win.
When we come back from the break, I want to know, what are your thoughts and what have you heard in relation to how Democrats are feeling? I can't imagine they're feeling really good right now.
They're feeling like Bears fans.
Touche.
If I packed and bought a ticket and I'm a delegate and I'm going to Chicago, how do I overcome the last 3 or 4 days?
You see if the ticket's refundable.
Yeah.
John, don't make me laugh. I told you I had that burger.
Oh yeah, you're not feeling good. Sorry.
Well, I'm gonna let them talk. We're gonna take a break. Impact 2024 inside the RNC. Denise Thomas, John McCure. I'm Dr. Ken Harris. We'll be right back.
More than 6 million kids in the U.S. have ADHD, and many aren't getting the support they need. At understood.org, we can help. Sometimes in class, the only thing your child can focus on are the thoughts racing through their head.
Why am I always falling behind? Why do I feel so alone? So different.
Your child is looking to you for answers. But as a parent, you probably have a lot of questions too. What should I do next? Where do I even start? At understood.org, we provide parents with the resources they need to help kids with ADHD thrive. Your child wants to thrive. Be the reason they do. Visit understood.org/thereason to get started.
Research shows that high-quality teachers have the greatest impact on student success during the school day. By shaping their students, they are shaping the future. Yet while actors have Oscars, musicians have Grammys, and athletes have gold medals, exemplary educators who prepare every profession are just not recognized enough. The Milken Educator Awards set out to change that by surprising outstanding educators across the nation with $25,000 prizes and providing a platform to celebrate, elevate, and activate the profession.
Erica Stevens!
The awards were created by Lowell Milken of the national nonprofit Milken Family Foundation. The journey to surprising the 3,000th Milken Educator is in full swing. Who will be next?
Honey, they chose me.
Celebrate teachers, value teachers, thank teachers.
You said you'd never buy your kid candy from the checkout aisle. Or forget extra diapers. And never give in to a meltdown. You'd never lick your thumb to clean their face. Never let them have too much screen time. And never bribe them for just one more bite. You say you'd never let them out in public without their hair brushed. Never, ever become a minivan mom. And you'd never give them your phone for a quiet dinner.
Calling boss work phone.
So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, no, it can happen. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk in temperatures as low as 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Prostate cancer screening is a simple blood test. It's a simple blood test. Get it done. Your family history of prostate cancer increases the risk for all the men in your family. It's a simple blood test. Get it done. Prostate cancer is most treatable when it's detected early. It's a simple blood test. Get it done. Men, it's your life. That's why it's so important to talk to your doctor about getting tested. If you want info on how to take action, the Prostate Cancer Foundation is here to help. For more than 30 years, PCF, a leader in scientific breakthroughs, has funded cutting-edge research that speeds new treatments into clinics, helping patients live longer with fewer complications. Go to pcf.org to learn more about prostate cancer and how you can advocate for yourself. Remember, it's your life, and it's a simple blood test. Get it done.
My name is Ariel. When I arrived in the U.S. at 19, I struggled to find job opportunities without my high school diploma. My entire life changed when I took a chance and got my high school diploma at age 22. Everything I have, my education, my career, my marriage, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and my teachers. They were with me every step of the way, helping with my English and math, making sure I pushed through all the challenges.
Ariel, your success proves that what I'm doing as a teacher has real meaning.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
Education was the key that unlocked all my opportunities.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
What distinguishes Old National Bank from other lenders in helping people buy their first home and furthering their small business?
Inside the RNC on WTMJ.
Welcome back. Dr. Ken Harris, John Mercure, Denise Thomas with you as we bring you up to the Donald Trump speech, which is scheduled to take place in about 2.5 hours or so here, and you will hear it here on WTMJ. The discussion in the room is the speech tonight, Joe Biden's future, where we're at. Let's go. Should we just do this?
Let's just do it, John.
Okay.
Just go ahead.
Come on, Dr. Ken. Let's
I kept thinking about the conversation.
So Kyle Wallace, who's on a sports station, by the way.
Too late.
He says that America's not ready for a female president, and I completely 1,000% disagree. I think that's not the case. I think we are. I think we're ready for a decent candidate, and we just don't have a good candidate.
Wait a minute. We're ready for a decent candidate, but we have Joe Biden and Donald Trump as the two candidates.
And they're awful.
How can we be ready for a decent candidate, and these are the two candidates that America chose? We can be mad about Joe Biden and his age and how elderly he is and how he's looking, and he was exposed during the debate, but at the end of the day, when people went to go cast their ballots during the spring primaries, they voted for Joe Biden.
Role of money in politics. The power of the incumbency. The long election cycle. Those are the things that we have got to get rid of.
I think we should also address this elephant in the room. So during the break, Dr. Ken, John, Kyle, and I were going back and forth saying, well, who should be the Democratic?
Right, who's a good candidate?
And we couldn't think of one. And I said, if we can't, as intellectual and as engrossed as we are in news, politics, if we're struggling to identify someone who would be capable, or even maybe two people, what do you think's happening in D.C. right now? They are struggling just as much as we are.
833-212-1017. Can you text me who that's Democrat that could run in Joe Biden's place? Because 4 intelligent, college-educated, with 1, 2, 3, 4, like 8 or 9 degrees between all of us, can't come up with one.
So let's go back to the question at the beginning of the segment and ask the only woman who's sitting at the table. Is America ready for a female president? Kyle says no. I say yes.
I say yes with conditions.
That's exactly conditions. Let me underscore Dr. Ken. Here's the thing, because now let me just hear me out here. The history of this country has programmed or conditioned Americans to see straight white men as the qualified leaders of this country. So think about it. If day after day of your life, when you see what a leader looks like, if you've only seen, with the exception of President Barack Obama, straight white men being what is identified as capable leaders, to the point where you have right now, and these are facts, you have a convicted felon, and then you have someone who, as Kyle had mentioned before, for me, it was over after the debate, John.
Me too.
It was over. And so the thing is that what this country will have to do, are women capable of being the president? Absolutely. We run this
But are we
country.
ready? Kyle believes they're capable.
But
I'm putting words in his mouth now. But are we ready? Is America in the position?
We will only be ready once this country decides to change the way that we speak about women in leadership. For example, right now there's an investigation within the Secret Service. Did they slip? Did they do their job? Why was President Trump in line of fire? Why did the Secret Service get that? It was too so much. They said, you know what? Look at DE&I. If they didn't have female Secret Service officers, this would have never happened. And that right there lets you know that the country is not ready.
That's awful.
But the country is not ready is because we are not demonstrating women in those roles. You don't see women every day. You have a vice president who's a woman and who's a woman of color, but you didn't see her making decisions. I'm sure she's probably the president right now. We just don't see her.
But the vice president never makes decisions. We have this discussion every time there's a vice president. The running joke is they attend state funerals.
Dick Cheney
and they
made
do nothing.
all the decisions in the Bush administration. Let me tell you that right now. Dick Cheney was the president.
Is he still alive?
He is.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
Yes, he is.
He's not here either, is he?
He should be running for president. He is not here.
Yeah, he was the president. Let me be clear for all the Texans out there. No, it wasn't Bush. It was Dick Cheney, and that was actually the negotiation. I will be your vice president, but I won't be the typical vice president. I will have authority. I don't think Kamala Harris has had that conversation with President Biden, but I do believe, based on the recent months, she's had to step in and make some decisions for President Biden. But going back to the original question, women are capable, The country is not ready. I will agree with Kyle, not because women aren't capable, because we just haven't been conditioned to receive women in that capacity.
But this is the same discussion we have before Barack Obama became elected. America's not ready for a black president.
That's what everybody said.
America will never have a black president. They're not ready for a black president. And then there was a good candidate. There was the right candidate.
But let me say this.
And we were ready.
Going back to Kyle's point, when people had to make the decision between a black man or a white woman, what did they choose? A man.
Well, you can't elect both. You got to choose a black man or a white woman. Those were the choices.
The male still superseded.
Right, but my point was,
but I don't think that's because she was a woman. You got to understand her reputation and her. It's terrible.
I'm very familiar.
Like, people literally said we don't want her. I knew people who voted Democrat just so they could vote against her.
But we're talking about this as if who's another woman that was close? Has there been another woman that's been close?
Eric Hovde, by the way, and Donald Trump both have just been shown on the big screen. Hey, Donald Trump, one of the questions was, will he have the big Band-Aid? I think it's gotten even bigger. He has a bandage on his ear. If that's possible, it's bigger than the other two nights, and he has entered the arena at Fiserv Forum, a bright red tie, a blue suit, pumping the fist.
And he looks healthy.
Next Thursday, it'll be an elephant ear.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge.
He started a trend. Like, you see people here wearing like little pillows on their ear.
Delegates in the hall I saw yesterday that had the bandages on their ear.
Let me see. Kyle Wallace, Denise Thomas, John McCure. I'm Dr. Ken Harris. I think Telly's going to show up. We're just going to have a barn burner here.
Did anyone text you about a capable Democratic?
No, they did not.
Oh, my goodness.
No, they did not.
So I did some research. Shout out.
What do you got?
When
we come back, take a break? Yeah, I got to take a break.
We'll take a break. We'll have news, and then we're going to hear from Kyle Wallace, who's going to tell us he did research. Now, K-Y-L-E. Call Kyle Wallace. Really? I don't want. You're listening to Impact 2024 Inside the RNC on 620 WTMJ and 101.7 The Truth. We'll be right back after the news.
Breaking news, weather, entertainment, and sports. We have it all here. This is 101.7 FM, 1510 AM, WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
One smile is great, but one smile in a community of smiles is so much better. A smile has a secret power that most people don't know about. A smile multiplies. It spreads from one person to the next, stretching across entire groups of people. Smile Train knows this and is proud to be creating a wave of smiles across the cleft lip and palate community in over 70 countries. Patients, doctors, advocates, fundraisers. Collectively, our smiles are a celebration of the transformed lives of over 1.5 million children. Learn how Smile Train is helping the cleft lip and palate community at smiletrain.org/learn. Smile Train, changing the world one smile at a time.
Calling all big thinkers. The world's climate is changing. These aren't new facts, but it means we must think in new ways about how we can live, prosper, and provide energy for our world while protecting our planet. Engineers are answering the call to create cleaner, safer, reliable energy. Solar power, harnessing the power of the sun to light all corners of the globe. Wind power, channeling a simple breeze to bring electricity to our homes. Hydropower, using the natural flow of water to generate electricity. Nuclear power, engineering advanced reactors that are safer, more reliable, and produce zero carbon emissions. Engineers are leading the way and empowering the next generation. Engineers answer the call. Brought to you by the National Academy of Engineering. Learn more at nae.edu.
Hi, I'm Kim Holderness.
And I am Penn Holderness.
And we're here to remind you to get your cancer screenings.
Now, we don't have cancer, but we do want to keep it that way.
And while you don't have to race to the doctor.
Oh, but I like races, honey, especially when they're amazing races.
I see what you did there. But you do need to make time for routine screenings. I schedule my annual mammogram and gyno appointments every year around my birthday and then treat myself to lunch.
Well, that sounds like fun. Can I get in on that? I mean, I like lunch.
Well, you have a colon and you're over 45 and you have lungs.
Yeah.
And didn't you smoke in college?
Yeah, but...
Okay, so seriously, Penn, if there is something, early detection can make all the difference.
Okay, I'll get screened.
The C word can be scary, but routine screenings for breast, cervical, colorectal, lung, and prostate cancers can detect cancer early, even before symptoms appear.
Please visit preventcancer.org to find out which cancer screenings you need.
Because early detection equals better outcomes.
When you're high, you feel different. But if you feel different, you drive different. So don't drive high. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
If anyone knows the joy of rescuing animals, it's me. Just ask my rescues, who are all very important members of my family. Your life can also be forever changed by adopting a shelter pet. And it's not just about happiness your pet gets from finding a loving home, but that which you'll get from bringing them into your life. The heroes at American Humane have been helping animals for more than 140 years, whether it's rescuing animals caught in disasters, ensuring the safety of animals stars on screen, or protecting our planet's endangered species. They go above and beyond to further their mission and make the world a kinder place for animals. Please consider adopting a shelter pet and support American Humane. You can learn more at AmericanHumane.org.
Brought to you by American Humane.
Truth Nation! It's Tori Lowe from 1 to 4, and I want you to download the 1017 The Truth app. Hey, because you know it's amazing. Wow.
Hey, that's not bad, Sherwin. That's not bad, all right? But T-Lo, show Sherwin Hughes how it's really done.
Truth Nation, it's your boy Tori Lowe from 1 to 4, and Sherwin's impression may have been trash, but he's right. You can hear all our best interviews, Panthers basketball, and me bringing all the smoke by downloading the Truth app today in the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. And why should they download the app, Benjamin?
You want to know why, T-Lo? You want to know why they should download the 101.7 The Truth app? Because it's amazing.
All your favorite interviews and best moments live in one place. Download the new 1017 The Truth app now.
I love the Truth app. I like being able to go back and listen to old tapings.
Milwaukee Black Talk. 1017 The Truth. Join the livest talk and text fan base in the country.
Where you speak the truth. It's 1017 The Truth.
That's right.
With Sherwin Hughes.
That's right.
So it's your particular truth.
Keep calling.
You on the new 1017 The Truth, tap in.
Keep texting.
Because Mike from Mill Road just said, I hope Mel never even thinks about another man when she's booed up because sheesh.
Keep being you, Truth Nation.
I just thank y'all for bringing awareness to our community.
Milwaukee Black Talk. 1017 The Truth.
Truth Nation, just press play. Your favorite award-winning 1017 The Truth shows are now streaming live on video. Watch us live on 1017 The Truth's Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and of course, 1017thetruth.com. Just press play for the home of Milwaukee Black Talk, 1017 The Truth.
Thank you, Truth Nation. Your passion and support has helped make Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association best radio show in the state of Wisconsin.
When did this word become so powerful that a person would go to jail, injure, or take another person's life? When did we give this word and other people power over us to ruin our lives?
We do this all for you, Milwaukee. We are the award-winning 1017 The Truth, Milwaukee Black Talk.
Truth Nation, it's your boy Tori Lowe, and I know how much you love listening to me bring all the smoke each and every day from 1 to 4, but now, not only can you hear me bring all the smoke, you can watch me bring all the smoke because the award-winning 1017 The Truth is streaming live. Watch all your favorite shows live.
Yeah, Truth Nation, you heard Tori Lowe, right? We are streaming all of our shows live every day. To watch the best radio station with the best on-air hosts in Milwaukee, you have to go to 1017thetruth.com and click the Watch Live link. From there, you'll be able to stream us on YouTube and Twitter and get an inside look on all the fun, like watching me from noon to 1 as I do my daily Fire Freestyle Live. Now, you know your girl got them bars, right, Benjamin?
Really? Yeah, Mel, you got them bars, and the truth is must-see TV. So make sure y'all tap in to see my boy Tori Lowe and my girl Melanie Ricks to do their thing live every day by streaming 101.7 The Truth on YouTube and Twitter. We live, baby. baby.
Truth Nation is the best fan base in the country.
Good to talk to you, man. And congratulations real quick on all your awards, man. You deserve everything. Brother, I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you, man. I heard you walked out of there like you was Beyonce with all them awards.
Hey. We want you to tap into the talk and text line every show, every day at 833-212-1017.
You on the new 1017 The Truth. Tap in.
Milwaukee Black Talk, 1017 The Truth. Thank you, Truth Nation. Your willingness to share your stories with our community has helped make the Tory Lowe Show a 2-time first place Wisconsin Broadcasters Association award winner.
Hey, I'm tapping in for the Milwaukee County Jail. Yeah, man, they treating us real bad up in here, man. I mean, they had us sleeping in feces and urine. They took the batteries from us, told us there wasn't no batteries in stock. I ain't never heard that in my life.
We do this all for you, Milwaukee. We are the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Milwaukee Black Talk.
Truth Nation, just press play. Your favorite award-winning 1017 The Truth shows are now streaming live on video. Watch us live on 1017 The Truth's Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and of course, 1017thetruth.com. Just press play for the home of Milwaukee Black Talk, 1017 The Truth.
What's up, Truth Nation? It's your girl, Carrie Noni here to officially announce my new role at The Truth as digital content journalist. I am so excited for this role because I'll be creating content centered around everything Milwaukee, the real Milwaukee, such as our events, our businesses, our people, and their stories that don't usually get to be told or recognized. So make sure you're following 1017 The Truth on all of our social media as I take you on the journey of discovering more about the pieces that make up the core of this beautiful city.
We do this for you, Truth Nation.
Right now in our country, we are seeing so-called leaders who are actively trying to restrict rights, like voting rights, like telling a woman what to do with her body. And all good people have to stand in moments like this and say, nope, not on my watch. It's my country. I love my country. And we have to stand up.
Because of your unwavering support, we are a 15-time WBA award-winning finalist. We are the award-winning 1017 The Truth. All your favorite interviews and best moments live in one place.
You know, I'm working in the morning, and I was listening back on the Truth app.
Download the new 1017 The Truth app now. Milwaukee Black Talk, 1017 The Truth. Coming with straight truth.
When we talk about giving more money to these ideas and we are pouring into NPS, sometimes people wonder, is they pouring into a cup with a hole in it? They got raises. We got one of the highest paid superintendents in the state. Where the money going? And not only for NPS, where's all the money going that's coming in to help the city of Milwaukee? Is it being managed correctly? I'm talking about on all sides.
Catch the Tory Lowe Show every weekday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. 1017 The Truth is now the proud home of Milwaukee Public Schools City Conference basketball. Tune in every week so you don't miss out on the classic rivalry game we all love, the high-flying dunks that leave us in awe, and the memorable moments where Milwaukee basketball legends are born. City Conference basketball on 1017 The Truth is sponsored by Milwaukee Public Schools, MPS proud, and presented by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
This is 1017 The Truth's Dr. Ken Harris, and the time is now, Milwaukee. You know, perspective is essential. What I found is the news behind the news is more important. I want you to leave my show with a sense of knowing what was missing that adds depth to the conversation. Tune in Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. on the new 1017 The Truth, the Truth app, or 1017thetruth.com.
Here at the new 1017 The Truth, we aim to be a staple in Milwaukee's Black community. We are committed to partnering with local organizations and supporting Black-owned businesses.
The Republican National Convention is officially here in Milwaukee. This is Impact 2024, inside the RNC, broadcasting live from Media Row. Here are your hosts, Dr. Ken Harris and John McCure.
Dr. Ken Harris here with John McCure. Denise Thomas and Kyle Wallace every now and then when he's on talking about women.
Well, he's a manager, so he's got other stuff he's got to do.
He's got to do. So
he's got paperwork he's doing over there.
So I've got a far out thing and question I want to ask. I know it might, okay. So in this instance, the United States, if they had a parliament like Great Britain, in other words, is our system causing the issues we're having with trying to figure out the Biden and the running and all that? Because in Great Britain, campaign is 6 weeks long, you vote and you're done. Literally, you move out that day and the other person moves in.
Right.
Done.
And in Switzerland, I learned when I visited in January, they have like a similar to a parliament,
right?
And they rotate,
right?
So they have like 4 women, I think it's 6 men, 4 women, so it's a total of 10, and they rotate every 3 to 4 years. So that way, everybody has an opportunity to serve and to lead. Whereas in America, it's still, again, a country where it has to be an older, straight white man to be eligible.
I don't want everybody to have the opportunity to lead. I want that if you have the best ideas and you present the best opportunities for people, you get chosen to lead. What if your group has a bunch of knuckleheads in it and you automatically get a chance to lead?
John, you should not be talking about the Democratic Party.
I was talking about Bears fans.
Oh, okay.
Right, same difference.
Same thing.
Don't you think it's coincidental, though, that it's in Chicago?
Isn't it?
That is hilarious.
Isn't that hilarious?
Well, and they're both going through a rebuilding process,
Kyle,
the Bears and the Democratic Party.
To say anything, because you are biased.
I'm just
You're a Packers fan.
I'm going to keep my hat on, keep my head down. I'll let y'all talk.
That is interesting thinking about the system. I think it is too long. It's too long, and money is too much at the heart of it. Yeah. But the guys that make the rules about how long the campaign season could be and campaign finance legislation will never vote to change it because it's self-serving. But it needs to change.
Do we know how much money the Trump campaign has raised to date? It's got to be close to $1 billion. I'm just kidding. What is it like?
Since the shooting, they said in small donations they raised about $10.5 million. And I heard that this morning on the business channel.
And when he was first found guilty, what was it, like $40 million in one day?
It was like 40 or 60
in
million
4 days
in
or something. Yeah.
Well, he's going to make $7 million when he sells off pieces of that bandage he's wearing on his ear.
Yeah.
He's going to cut that in little pieces and sell it.
Go to Pfizer Forum. It is literally Trump Mart. Super Trump Mart. You can get anything. You can get a loaf of bread with Donald Trump's face on the packaging. I'm not joking.
I made a pancake this morning. It kind of looked like Trump. I wasn't trying to figure if that was a sign or not.
Well, they are serving Trump pancakes across the street.
The big square you had on it that looked like a bandage, that was actually the pancake.
I mean, in all seriousness, and I'm not one to say it's over until it's actually over. But it's over. It's over. And the Democratic Party, they failed. And if you really want me to go there, Dr. Ken and John, just be complete with the fact that the election, it's over. You need to start coming up with the pipeline of Democratic candidates that can win for 2000, that would be 2020, 28. That's what y'all should be doing right now. Because as far as 2024, it's over.
Let's scratch women.
Huh?
Who do you know that can
like,
run?
What?
Well, right. Let's scratch women for now. Who do you know
in general?
Can run in general.
Okay.
To be the next president of the United States from the Democratic Party.
We don't need to know who that is right now, though.
No. Who's in the bullpen? Who am I going to put in the bullpen?
Okay. Well, I'll answer it this way.
Okay.
So there are, and I know you know probably John or Dr. Ken. There's a formal program.
Correct.
Where they, identify high potential, young, innovative candidates that they will, groom to be. Matter of fact, I'll give you a prime example, and he was one of the best presidents in U.S. history, Lyndon B. Johnson. Lyndon B. Johnson was a part of that program because I think he was under Roosevelt's mentorship.
I thought I heard something. You said he was one of the best presidents in U.S. history?
For me, yes. And Dr. Ken and I have had many debates. He is one of my top. He's one of my top 5.
Why?
Voting Rights Act, Civil Rights Act, Fair Housing Act,
Vietnam War.
And didn't give it any money. Didn't put a dime into civil rights.
Are we going to have this debate today?
No, I'm not. I'm
Me either. I'm sorry. I don't want to have it either.
Okay, going back to your original question, Actually, it's a good question because the American people, we don't have an answer that are for the Democratic Party. We don't have an answer, and that's why all of us were struggling, and that's a problem. The Democratic Party has failed, and as someone who has traditionally voted a certain way, I can say that they failed. The Democratic Party has failed this country. They need to go back to the drawing board and get prepared for 2028. And as far as I'm concerned, tonight is going to be more of a victory speech than it will be an acceptance of the GOP nomination.
All right. Denise Thomas, John McCure, and me, Dr. Ken Harris. You are listening to Impact 2024 Inside the RNC on 101.7 The Truth and 620 WTMJ. We'll be right back.
Donors choose. Support a classroom. Build a future. Did you know that every year, public school teachers spend nearly $500 of their own money for student supplies? Let's do the math. That comes out to over $1.2 billion a year. And that's just not right. At Donors Choose, we want students and teachers to have the tools they need for a great education. And now, more than ever, they need your help. Here's what you can do. Go to DonorsChoose.org and choose from teachers' requests that support reading, math, science, history, and more. Once a request is funded, we'll take care of shipping everything directly to the teacher. It's that easy. You'll receive thank you letters and photos from students and teachers and a report of how every dollar was spent. Teachers' needs have never been greater. Learn more at DonorsChoose.org. Donors Choose. Support a classroom. Build a future.
This is Community Heartbeat, presented by Outreach Community Health Centers on 101.7 The Truth.
There are individuals in our community who certainly need health services, a variety of health services. What if they do not have health insurance? How can you serve that population?
Our community health center allows patients to come to our clinic regardless of their ability to pay, and that's part of our federal funding. You can come to our clinic and be seen based on what we call a poverty level. So anyone 200% or below a poverty level can be seen in our clinic for anywhere from $20 to $40 for that visit. So in other words, if your visit is a $400 visit and you fall on our sliding scale where you pay $20 for your visit, you would not be responsible for the $400. You'd only be responsible for $20 for that visit. Also, our pharmacy prescriptions are very, very affordable as well. Where you would normally pay, let's say for an inhaler, $240 a month for an inhaler, at our facility that would cost you about $4 or $5.
It's very good to know you guys have a sliding scale that makes it very, very affordable.
Impact 2024, Inside the RNC on WTMJ.
I'm Dr. Ken Harris. I wish you were here for the off-air discussion and comment.
It is the best discussion.
It's the best. Or
after hours. We should do
after hours.
RNC yes. Impact after hours.
And then switch over to YouTube.
Y'all need Telly to join because I'm telling you, people that know Telly Hughes as the sports broadcaster, they don't know the side that I get every day. He is one of the most hilarious individuals. He needs to be a professional stand-up comedian. So stay tuned in because when Telly joins us, he got that sports coat on. He's gonna be Telly Hughes. See, I get the funny Telly, like tears coming down my face.
Hey, let's go inside Fiserv.
Yeah, let's go.
Can we do that, producer Brandon? We've got a couple guys standing by inside Fiserv Forum.
Greg Matzik and Eric Billstadt.
Fellas, what's happening
what's up,
right
fellas?
now?
How you doing?
Hey.
We just had a video board message from Donald Trump talking about his hope and quest for a secure election. What I did notice about that, Eric, is that was obviously done well over a week ago because there was no bandage, there was no cover-up on Donald Trump's ear.
No bandage in that video, you're correct.
And as you mentioned, John, we talked about the size of the bandage. It kind of looks like Mike Lindell made a mini My Pillow for it, and that's kind of what it looks like on his ear right now.
So, guys, what we're seeing is it's the standing room only on the floor right now. It's a sea of delegates and supporters that are down there. Some guests who have also been allowed to walk down there as well. You can still see the cheeseheads from the Wisconsin contingent. Jason Aldean, who is singing later on, is in the presidential family suite. He and his wife are in there. They were sitting right next to the president at one point. So he is here. We heard from Diane Hendricks earlier, of Wisconsin native. We've heard from a couple of other supporters and some average Americans, if you will, as they call it, as the programming continues.
Yeah, they keep sprinkling in the everyday heroes, which we spoke about last night, John, and you were in the building for one of the most impactful everyday heroes, the 98-year-old World War II veteran William Peckrell from Wisconsin, who said, with Donald Trump watching, if Donald Trump is president, I'm going to re-enlist. I'm going back to the Army or the Marines or wherever he's going to fight for. There was a really impactful moment. So I'd say the impact of the everyday heroes has been mixed, but the ones that have hit, I think, really have hit, John.
And I'm told that Kid Rock will be performing a new song tonight. When Kid Rock comes out here, this might be...
Who wants the new music? Play the hits.
I think it might be election related. If you watch his sound check a little bit, just look for the Kid Rock sound check on X. You might have a hint for what he's going to play tonight. I'm not sure exactly when he is going to take the stage, but yes, this is part RNC and part rock concert, right? I mean, there's music happening in between speakers. You got a great house band, for lack of a better term, and then Kid Rock is going to be here tonight. Jason Aldean, as you mentioned. So it really is kind of a unique setting.
And as far as the crowd goes, Greg, what would you comp this now? If we were talking Bucks game, where are we right now as this crowd fills up?
Okay, so I would say we are middle of the first quarter when some of the people in the BMO Club have not yet made it out from getting their beer, and they sit in the really nice seats, right? But the upper level's full, like we're ready to rock. It's already tipped off, and the game is probably the first time out. Giannis probably making his first break.
Yeah, you're right. I think that's very close. I know exactly what you're talking about.
He is Greg Matzik. He is Eric Bilstead. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
You bet, guys. You bet.
So speaking right now, Alina Habba, you saw her on TV all the time. She's the one who usually looks like she's a stone face on Mount Rushmore, standing behind Donald Trump at all these legal proceedings. She's got a big smile on her face tonight. She's not looking like she usually does when she's in a courtroom.
All right.
But she is speaking. I mean, the list of people is interesting. Then after her, coming up, we're going to take a break here, but is Tucker Carlson, former Fox News guy. He is scheduled to be here as well. We'll be right back with continuing coverage on 101.7 The Truth and 620 WTMJ.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 in the morning, my phone rang. They said, I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action. Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other. Leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, Teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
What is at stake for African American voters in this election?
A great deal is at stake. All the progress we've made is at stake. For example, right now we've lowered health care costs. I've been able to walk in and make sure we forgive student debt for people who are struggling to get to school. We've provided billions of dollars to HBCUs to give them a fighting chance. We've changed prescription drug costs by allowing Medicare to negotiate drug prices so that people on insulin are paying $35 a month instead of $400 a month. And all prescription drugs can be limited to $2,000 a year, even though cancer drugs are $10,000, $12,000, $14,000. We're strengthening Medicare. Look, we stand up for principles, our democracy.
RNC on WTMJ.
I'm Dr. Ken Harris, and we're here with John McCure and Denise Thomas. Kyle is doing the managerial thing, and Telly is giving pointers to our engineer about
You are illustrating everything. I love that about you, Dr. Ken.
We have to. We've got a producer here that's just saying, please, I want to stay on my phone, so please don't break anything, and just,
Does anybody else think this is weird, that it's the night that the president accepts the nomination, the former president, and his criminal defense attorney has a prime spot at the podium?
Yeah, it is.
This is just weird. This is just really weird.
This is definitely a unique presidential election for so many different reasons.
So Paul Ryan's not there. George W. Bush
Not
there. Mike Pence's VP's not there, but his criminal defense attorney is at the podium right now giving a speech.
How do you feel about that, John?
I just think it's odd. Just an observation. I think it's odd.
I think it's odd that President Biden just spoke in front of 10,000 black people at the NAACP, and then the next day, he got COVID. Hope it was worth it. Can you imagine? Can you imagine being at a convention where the President of the United States is the keynote speaker, and during President Biden's remarks to a predominantly black audience, he talked about black jobs? So if you recall, during the presidential debate between former President Donald Trump and President Joe Biden, in reference to the immigrants, the illegal immigrants are coming in to the U.S., former President Trump basically alluded that they're taking black jobs, Hispanic jobs. So, of course, there was major response in terms of, well, what does that mean? What is a black job? Now, as a communications coach, I wasn't defending necessarily former President Donald Trump, but I said I understood what he was saying, because if you look at the stats, the majority of hospitality industry, hotel industry, service industry positions predominantly are filled by people of color in this country. That's a fact. And the delivery could have been more healthier. But then President Biden says in the speech, you want to know what a black job is? The Vice President of the United States. And I was just like, can we please just stop? Just cut the mic. Because there's, in this country, we don't need to classify jobs based on race. And then for President Biden to think that he was going to change the perception, the narrative by saying, you know what a black job is? Being vice president. We've already had a black president. Okay, so
and it ain't you.
And so, and then to leave, and then the White House announces that President Biden tested positive for COVID-19. To your earlier point, it's just weird. This is a very weird presidential election.
But he didn't come in contact with all those 10,000 people.
It's not a good look.
So somebody on your detail, probably should have had Trump's detail that day. Somebody around gave you COVID there.
I got to see the test. I got to see John. He does not have COVID.
You're in conspiracy land.
He does not have COVID. First he comes out and says the only way I'd get out is if God Almighty comes down and tells me, or if there's a medical situation that arose. Oh, I got COVID. What do you know?
And trust me, the Democratic Party, they tried to get God on line one. They were like, can we get God?
And when they couldn't get him on line one, they got Nancy Pelosi with a syringe, and she stabbed him in the shoulder with COVID inside that syringe. So if he does have it, they got to take that syringe out of her backpack.
He does not. I'm agree with you, John, as I always do. But seriously, I do not believe that President Biden tested positive for COVID-19.
Let's see the test.
I definitely feel it was a conversation like this. Mr. President, good morning.
No, it wasn't.
You have COVID.
Mr. President, wake up.
And he said, I wasn't even tested. They said, you have COVID. Trust us.
You have it.
Just trust us.
Just trust us. You have COVID.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yep. And then he shuffled into the bathroom.
I'm laughing at Kyle Wallace's face. But yes, it's you have COVID, Mr. President.
Okay. Wow. Does Jill know? Does Jill know?
We look, you have COVID.
You're going to Delaware. The helicopter's out on the lawn.
Yes.
Yep.
Step 1, step 2.
Wow. I hope we have to take a break.
Listen, as hard as it is to even entertain this conversation, how do you think it is as a broadcasting journalist? Think about it. We at this point in the game, approximately 4 or 5 months shy of November 5th.
Yep.
The day that Americans will go in and vote for the 47th president of the United States. In the normal situation, John and Dr. Ken, we would be talking about the polls. We'd be talking about, hey, next month the Democrats, they're going to have their week, and these are the things that they're focused. We're having a conversation about our current president testing positive for COVID-19, as well as people in his cabinet, people surrounding him, top Democrats, including Chuck Schumer, who is the Senate Majority Leader, Nancy Pelosi, former Speaker of the House, President Barack Obama, close friend, buddy, all three saying it's over.
It's over. So Democrats think they can win on abortion. They think they can win on education. They can't win on any of those issues, to your point, Denise, if the issue we're talking about is whether or not there's going to be an open convention and Joe Biden really has COVID. We're having a conversation about whether he really
That's the conversation we're having.
We're not talking policy. We're not even talking about the convention.
And that's the lack of trust that people have in the political system today. Yep. That we don't even believe the White House communications director telling the country something that they should know constitutionally, right? You need to know if your president is sick, all those things.
Yep.
We don't believe that.
You know what really frustrates me, Dr. Ken, is the number of commentators, political correspondents, political experts, strategists that had the nerve, and you and I had this conversation. I was so infuriated, John, when people were saying it was just a debate. Calm down. Give it a week. People, they still believe in President Biden, and Dr. Ken will co-sign. I was like, what was that?
Yep.
Because it wasn't as if both presidential candidates were agreeing to have a cadence of multiple debates. And based on the division in this country and based on the polls at that time, that was the make or break debate. And former President Trump understood the assignment. He showed up. He left the stage. The optics alone, let's not even talk about the debate. Let's talk about when he was leaving the stage. Visibly was struggling walking off the stage.
Right.
Dr. Jill Biden, our First Lady, had to help him walk down 3 steps. And then subsequently you have him referring to the Vice President, Madam Vice President Kamala Harris, as Vice President Trump.
It was bad. And then they edited the transcript. The transcript they sent out to the media the next day, they had actually corrected the transcript in the official White House transcript that we all received. I'm on that email list. I was stunned because we all knew what he had said. He had referred to her as Vice President Trump, and they sent out the transcript, and they had literally changed it to he said Vice President Harris.
Wow.
Jake Tapper, the moderator of the presidential debate, George Stephanopoulos of ABC News, they have all publicly said when they literally were like less than 2 feet having a one-on-one, non-scripted, non-edited live conversation that they were very concerned about how President Biden showed up. So again, this is a clear reminder that when your gut tells you this is not looking good, the Democratic Party, after that presidential debate, should have already started, because now it's I'm not going to say it's too late, John and Dr. Ken, but it's too late.
It pretty much is.
It's too late.
Hey, we're going to take a break. It is 7:31. There's a musical interlude right now over at Fiserv Forum. Tucker Carlson takes to the stage after that. Hulk Hogan is still on deck. Kid Rock is still on deck. Eric Trump, and of course, former President Donald Trump, former President Trump, will take the podium later tonight. You're listening to continuing coverage on 101.7 The Truth and 620 WTMJ.
More than 6 million kids in the U.S. have ADHD, and many aren't getting the support they need. At understood.org, we can help. Sometimes in class, the only thing your child can focus on are the thoughts racing through their head.
Why am I always falling behind? Why do I feel so alone? So different.
Your child is looking to you for answers. But as a parent, you probably have a lot of questions too. What should I do next? Where do I even start? At understood.org, we provide parents with the resources they need to help kids with ADHD thrive. Your child wants to thrive. Be the reason they do. Visit understood.org/thereason to get started.
My name is Ariel. When I arrived in the U.S. at 19, I struggled to find job opportunities without my high school diploma. My entire life changed when I took a chance and got my high school diploma at age 22. Everything I have, my education, my career, my marriage, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and my teachers. They were with me every step of the way, helping with my English and math, making sure I push through all the challenges.
Ariel, your success proves that what I'm doing as a teacher has real meaning.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
Education was the key that unlocked all my opportunities.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Impact 2024, inside the RNC on WTMJ.
Impact 2024. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. John McCure is making his way over to the Pfizer Forum, and I'm here now with the illustrious Denise Thomas, and Telly Hughes has joined the fray.
It almost looked like you had to look at like my name tag or something to see who I was.
We're broadcasting live from 1017 The Truth and 620 WTMJ.
There's some truth to that.
Right. There's another guy here. I'm trying to hear the voice. Where's it coming from? Ah, Telly.
Oh, yes.
No, it's great to have you here this evening.
It's good to be here.
So you've been here all week. By the way, both of you, great interview this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With Eric Trump. And it seems, as we look, Tucker Carlson is now on the podium, and he's speaking. I find it kind of odd. He hasn't been on Fox News in, I don't know what, 2-3 years because of issues and being fired. And
he's been compensated, though.
And he's been compensated very well.
Yes.
He's also not been able to be on to do any broadcasting because of his contract. Is that something we could probably use with a certain president that seems to have worn out his welcome? And now everyone sees it. This is going to be a monumental speech at 9 o'clock by former President Donald Trump. We talked about the debate. We talked about the assassination attempt. We talked about people who called in, and I don't know if you got it on your show, but 620 got it, and 1017 The Truth, where people said, nope, it's not real. It's all made up. I said, the number of people you would have needed to put together and not say anything about a fake assassination attempt, that would be pretty masterful. But yet I heard it. I literally heard it from people. And at first, I'll be honest, I thought it was like, maybe a piece of glass broke or something.
I think there's always going to be conspiracy theorists out there that is always going to look at, well, they could have did this, they could have done that, and maybe they did plot it all together where somebody had to take one for the team. And I will tell you this, and I was just talking to Cal about this, and it is amazing how little they are talking about this alleged assassin was a registered Republican.
Right.
Now, if this was a Democrat, do you know that would be everything they're talking about tonight. That would be the speech. They tried to take me out in the courtrooms, and now they tried to take my life.
Democrats brought up that he was a registered Republican. And they also brought up that he paid $15 to the Democratic Party as well.
Yeah, but you're not, to Tully's point.
No, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. And had he been a Democrat, then it would have flipped and all this, oh my God. It's just like.
The witch hunts would have continued.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
The problem is nobody knows why this guy did it. Nobody has any idea.
As of now.
Now, you and I both know that they would have leaked. Police departments are sieves in terms of information. There is nothing sacred. Pictures, investigations, and now you get this thing where he gets shot and you have his phone. You have pictures of him beforehand, scoping out the place. You have
video of him
with a gun, without a gun, on the roof, not on the roof, but you check everything and you get nothing.
And now, all of a sudden, he was on a watch list. He was one that was a person of interest. But, again, you see video that has come out, and people have recorded him getting on the roof, saying, hey, there's someone on the roof. He has a gun.
Yeah.
And how could you get all of this video? And when we have been walking down the street all week long, you can't go 5 steps without seeing Secret Service.
You know what I find interesting is that as we are here covering the 2024 Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and we're talking about the lack thereof or the information that has been reported as more and more developments come to life regarding the attempted assassination. I feel the same way about the Democratic Party. I thought about that this morning. I said, the Democratic Party has misled the American voters, especially those that are registered Democrats and have voted traditionally as Democrats, because you knew President Biden, and I'm just going to say it like I would say it to my children when I tell them to do something and they don't do it. Didn't I tell you? You knew you ain't had no business debating when you knew you weren't in the mental capacity to do that. And the Democratic Party has camouflaged President Biden at so many levels, in so many ways. And to now, you are going to have a number of traditionally registered voting Democrats who are going to go into that poll on November 5th angry because you lied, you misled, you miscommunicated. You've had so many opportunities to just be transparent and say, look, we know that during the primaries in the spring this year, President Joe Biden was the choice of the American Democrats, or whoever voted during that primary.
Right.
But since then, some things have happened, and we want to position this country for the best leader.
Yes.
Based on national security, fair, affordable health care, being able, as alluded to earlier, groceries. And the Democratic Party, they did not do that.
Yeah.
And so I think as Americans, we both sides, Republicans and Democrats, should be concerned, not just regarding the attempted assassination with President Trump in terms of the Secret Service, but also the communication between both the White House and Biden's campaign. Because that's why we right now are at the drawing board, and it's too late. They're going to have to start planning for 2028, because 2024, it's over.
And we'll be talking about that and more. When we come back, we're going to go to Greg Matzik up in the rafters of the Fiserv Forum. I want to hear a little bit about the speech. Like, he has a copy of the speech, and I want to know some generalities about it. What's going on and what they're talking about. Denise Thomas, Tully Hughes, I'm Dr. Ken Harris. You're listening to Impact 2024 Inside the RNC on 101.7 The Truth and 620 WTMJ. We'll be right back.
Prostate cancer screening is a simple blood test. It's a simple blood test. Get it done. Your family history of prostate cancer increases the risk for all the men in your family. It's a simple blood test. Get it done. Prostate cancer is most treatable when it's detected early. It's a simple blood test. Get it done. Men, it's your life. That's why it's so important to talk to your doctor about getting tested. If you want info on how to take action, the Prostate Cancer Foundation is here to help. For more than 30 years, PCF, a leader in scientific breakthroughs, has funded cutting-edge research that speeds new treatments into clinics, helping patients live longer with fewer complications. Go to pcf.org to learn more about prostate cancer and how you can advocate for yourself. Remember, it's your life, and it's a simple blood test. Get it done.
Calling all big thinkers. The world's climate is changing. These aren't new facts, but it means we must think in new ways about how we can live, prosper, and provide energy for our world while protecting our planet. Engineers are answering the call to create cleaner, safer, reliable energy. Solar power, harnessing the power of the sun to light all corners of the globe. Wind power, channeling a simple breeze to bring electricity to our homes. Hydropower, using the natural flow of water to generate electricity. Nuclear power, engineering advanced reactors that are safer, more reliable, and produce zero carbon emissions. Engineers are leading the way and empowering the next generation. Engineers answer the call. Brought to you by the National Academy of Engineering. Learn more at nae.edu.
Now's when the summer heat is working your AC system into overtime. And after this long, it may be on borrowed time. But
Truth Nation, Gruber Law Offices and The Truth have raised the stakes for this year. The One Call That's All Gruber Cash Giveaway is now a $5K giveaway. Yes, you heard it right. $5,000 giveaway. Every weekday on 1017 The Truth, you will have the chance to be entered to win the $5K giveaway. Listen to The Truth for the One Call That's All cue to call for your chance to win $5,000. Gruber Law Offices, One Call That's All. Visit 1017thetruth.com for official contest rules.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 in the morning, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is to
Impact 2024, inside the RNC on WTMJ.
I'm Dr. Ken Harris. You are listening to Impact 2024. I'm here with Denise Thomas, because I wouldn't dare say Telly Hughes first, because she'll give me that look.
What look is that, Dr. Ken?
That one. We're live on 620 WTMJ and 1017 The Truth in the Fiserv Forum. We've got Greg Matzik. So, Greg, I'm interested in knowing, do we have any insight on really what former President Trump is going to really be talking about in his speech tonight?
Yeah, I think a lot of the discussion today, Dr. Ken, was this idea of rallying everybody in America, trying to unify, and that's how this convention really started. In between, there was some hammering of Joe Biden's policies, the administration, and those who do lean to the left and support the Democratic parties. But it seems like it started soft, and I think it's going to end with this message of unity. Now, sources tell me here that with the knowledge of what the speech is going to look and sound like, Trump will detail the events of Saturday night from his point of view. There will be special mention of the gentleman who was killed as a result of the assassination attempt and 2 others who were severely wounded. There will also, in his speech tonight, be a special shout-out to Milwaukee and the state of Wisconsin for hosting an outstanding convention. Just a couple of the things that I think we can expect to hear tonight. But along with it, this overwhelming sense of gratitude for those who rushed to his aid, his ability to even take the stage tonight as a presidential candidate, and what it means to move forward to lead all of America versus half of America. In other words, uniting those who are on the other side and trying to bring everybody in America together. That is going to be the crux of Donald Trump's speech tonight. Gratitude, unity, detailing the events of Saturday night from his point of view.
Greg, so it sounds like he will not touch on any sort of policies or things that he's going to be running on, but this is a total shift in his campaign, all the way up to the fact that he ripped up his original speech to write this one tonight, one that we have never heard him say or speak on before. What insight did you get in terms of how this speech was prepared, because, again, we have never heard a speech from Donald J. Trump speaking on unity in this country.
Well, a good portion of this speech, Telly, as I'm understanding it, is going to be from the events of Saturday night. So if you talk about that detail alone and everything from his point of view, boy, that takes up a good chunk of the early portion of this speech. And that in itself was a life-changing event. But I don't know if prior to Saturday, if he had messages of discord and division in society, and for that to be healed, and the idea of, as Americans, we're bound together by a single fate and a shared destiny, rising together or falling apart together. Right? I don't know if any of that was in the original speech, but I do believe that's the theme and the tone of what you're going to hear tonight. And the events of Saturday night are fueling that. So he's going to spend a good chunk of time. I would say the first 5 minutes or so, you're going to hear a lot about what happened on Saturday night. And I'm also told to expect a moment of silence for the gentleman who was killed as a result of the assassination attempt from Saturday, Corey Compratore.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Greg. We appreciate it. That's Greg Matzik live from the Fiserv Forum. I'm here with Denise Thomas, Telly Hughes. I'm Dr. Ken Harris, and we'll be right back. We're live from the RNC, Impact 2024. We'll be right back.
Join the movement. Listen to the Tory Lowe Show on 101.7 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, the locally owned Good Karma brand station.
Truth Nation, Gruber Law Offices and The Truth have raised the stakes for this year. The One Call That's All Gruber Cash Giveaway is now a $5K giveaway. Yes, you heard it right. $5,000 giveaway. Every weekday on 101.7 The Truth, you will have the chance to be entered to win the $5K giveaway. Listen to The Truth for the One Call That's All cue to call for your chance to win $5,000. Gruber Law Offices. One Call That's All. Visit 1017thetruth.com for official contest rules.
At UW Credit Union, our home loans have everything you need for your next big step, including up to $750 off closing costs for all home buyers. And first-time buyers can save even more. So if you're ready to trade roomies for more room, or your townhome for an out-of-town home, UW Credit Union will be with you from start to furnished. UW Credit Union. Apply online today. Equal housing lender. Credit may be limited as required by program. Visit uwcu.org for details.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other, leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey.
You're listening to Impact 2024 inside the RNC on WTMJ.
I'm Dr. Ken Harris. I'm here with Telly Hughes, Denise Thomas. We'll be ending this on 620 WTMJ, but hey, never fear. You can flip right over to 1017 The Truth, or you can hit us on YouTube. We will be right here going till 9 o'clock, and then we'll be hearing from President, what do I want to call him? Former President? Will he soon be president?
Well, in all seriousness, because we've had a lot of back and forth, it depends. It's a formal title. So once you have been elected president,
you're president.
You're president.
Right.
In certain situations, so like as we are reporting from the
to
Republican,
differentiate between the current sitting
exactly.
president. Okay.
But if he were to walk up to this booth right now and sit down for an interview, we would regard him as President Trump.
Okay.
Yeah. So
especially if he gives an interview.
Hang out with her.
You know, I got a little brain up here. It comes out every now and again.
But I think it's important for us to recognize this is a monumental occasion for the city of Milwaukee.
Oh, my goodness.
We were supposed to have the DNC here years ago, and they decided not to come and had a little small gathering, and now we get to see the power. I wonder though, I've been hearing rumblings that businesses were not necessarily happy with the perceived, I don't know if promise is the right word, but the perceived business bump they were supposed to get and what actually happened.
Yeah, and you can see why that was a concern, especially when you see how downtown has been barricaded.
Yes.
And if you're not inside the zone, it is really tough for you and patrons to get to your establishment. So I can see why they would have some sort of gripe about how their business is being affected. But if you planned ahead, I'm sure the people that got their businesses rented out and reserved out, they're not complaining.
That's a great point.
They're not complaining at all.
The Capitol Grill on the corner of Wisconsin and
across from the Baird
right
Center.
here,
Yes. in Wisconsin.
I was walking. I said, "Oh man, they're closed. They must have lost it." I was like, "Nah, they got a real nice chunk of change."
Yes.
And on my way here, Telly and Dr. Ken, I recorded footage. There was a major, peaceful but major protest in recognition of Devontae Mitchell's death.
I saw that on the news.
Yeah, so I actually literally walked by, video recorded it. I'll play it for y'all during our next break. But you know, the thing is that this week overall has been peaceful, regardless of how you feel, what party you affiliate yourself with as a voter. And I want to give a huge kudos to Milwaukeeans because this was very disruptive for us. And you know, this is a very traditional, somewhat conservative town or city in terms of, you know, we don't, since I would say the past 10 years, we have not had as many national conventions, national championships, world championships as we've had in the past. And so Milwaukee is for once in a while was on the map this week for something that was not negative.
Yeah, and it showed a real positive light. They showed another side of Milwaukee that a lot of people outside of Wisconsin don't get a chance to see. You're right. Most of the time when Wisconsin and Milwaukee make the national news, it's not for a good reason. And for Milwaukee to be the center of the political universe for this entire week, and for Milwaukee to show the side and the safety and how things have gone off without a hitch. I mean, because you got to think, even the shooting took place well outside of the zone, well outside of downtown. So when it comes to securing the RNC downtown Milwaukee, I think that Milwaukee has shown an extremely good side of what this city has to offer.
Absolutely. And as I was randomly speaking with attendees that are registered Republicans that are here for the convention, you know, I would ask them, you know, how do you feel about Milwaukee? And not one person had a negative thing to say. They said Milwaukee's a beautiful city. We didn't really know much about Milwaukee outside of the Green Bay Packers and the Milwaukee Bucks, but this is definitely a city that we plan to return to and visit. So again, kudos to Milwaukee. We showed up, we were welcoming,
and we showed out.
And we How we show out, Dr. Ken?
We showed out. I think it was great because you saw it. First of all, Third Street Market, I was okay, and I was kind of worried, like, where's all the people? And then so I went in and did what I did in the radio station. I said, well, I guess it's time for me to walk over. And I opened the door and I went, where do these people come from? I mean, it was wall to wall people.
Even if it wasn't, you know what the Third Street Market Hall served as this week? The cafeteria for the police officer, Secret Service,
yes, it did.
FBI. I mean, they were.
Yes, it did.
That is where they went to. That was their central grounds for dining this week. And so again, Milwaukee, we got some money coming in. Now, my only question is, what black businesses benefited from that? We got to take a break.
Absolutely. And I think it went great. I think that being on 620 WTMJ and 1017 The Truth, we had a great time. We'll be flipping over to 1017 The Truth, so we're not ending. 620 will go on. At 9 o'clock, we will have the Trump speech coming up right here on 1017 The Truth. So you're listening to Impact 2024 inside the RNC. She's Denise Thomas. I think that guy's name is Telly Hughes. I'm jealous. I'm Dr. Ken Harris. We'll be back.
Listen to the man who tells you exactly how he sees it. The Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris every weekday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. on 1017 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the new 1017 The Truth. Here is Dr. Ken Harris with his truth.
We're at a turning point in Milwaukee's political history as we go towards the end of this year and into 2025. The choices we make now will have a lasting impact on our city in the future. The impending financial difficulties necessitate a cooperative strategy that unites every aspect of our society to create long-term fixes. There has never been any question about the tenacity and the spirit of Milwaukeeans, and it is this strength that we need to utilize more than ever. Our future depends on creative problem solving, utilizing cross-border alliances, and being dedicated to making sure that all Milwaukeeans' voices, especially those of the historically marginalized, are acknowledged and heard during the policymaking process. Prioritizing equitable development will ensure that long-standing imbalances are addressed and economic growth will benefit all Milwaukee citizens. It's essential to make investments in Milwaukee's public services, infrastructure, educational systems in order to both prevent the budget crisis and create a more robust and energetic city. Now, as we traverse these obstacles, let us never forget that our community is our most valuable resource. And by working together, we can overcome any challenge and create a future that embodies Milwaukee's greatest qualities, which are resilience, being inclusive, and being a successful city.
This has been Truth Takes on the new 1017 The Truth. Listen to The Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris, weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
You're listening to Impact 2024 inside the RNC.
I'm Dr. Ken Harris, and we are still here going until 9 o'clock, and then we will be simulcasting the speech given by former President Donald Trump here at the Fiserv Forum. I'm here with Denise Thomas and Telly Hughes. Now we can get into some real stuff.
Okay. We can talk.
So John Tester, Montana Democrat, just came out and formally stated that he believes that President Joe Biden should drop out of the race.
Again, and Kyle, you both, before we were doing our truth segment, Telly, you weren't here yet, I said the Democratic Party should right now be planning for 2028. Because 2024, it's over.
Do you just skip it?
No, you from a formality standpoint, well, now that I see why you said that, because and I don't know if legal is the appropriate term, but technically, the Democratic National Convention, just like the Republican National Convention, is where you have your delegates come together and say the state of Wisconsin votes for Joe Biden.
Right.
We don't have that.
Well, but if they do it, what they'll have to do is have an open convention, which means the superdelegates do not get to vote the first round, right? They only vote the last, like they vote for, let me think of it. It's a primary and there's 18 people running, right? Superdelegates would not run would not vote. Superdelegates would vote when it's down to 2. And then they would vote, because then that's the vote that'll count.
Like the final four.
The final four. Yeah. So no matter what you do, all the clamoring and is it going to be this person or that person, none of that will matter until that second vote.
Yeah. At this point, I feel like, from even an optics standpoint, there's no one else that needs to come out and say what Joe Biden needs to do. Let's be real. Because
y'all need to be planning.
This is the overall sentiment. We get it. To me, this just seems like you got a fighter that's staggering and you still throwing punches. Okay, we know this.
Look,
now, what
you say?
are we?
No mas.
Right.
No mas.
What are we doing to move forward? And that should be the theme now. Now, if you still have to, pull and drag and kicking Joe Biden out of this race, that may be something you have to do, because as of now, there are reports that he's going to hit the campaign trail once he gets over COVID, where you have so many people that are calling for you to step aside while you're down. To me, this is the perfect opportunity to do that. And you need to, if you really put this country first, you have so many people that have said there's no way you're going to win this race if you remain in it. And if that is the truth, and if it takes whatever it takes for you to believe that, then put the country first and say, and put your support behind whoever you think is most fit to be president. And you have recently said that not only you think Kamala Harris is a good vice president, she would make a good president. So if you truly feel that way, put your money where your mouth is and start to try and gain some momentum heading into the DNC next month, August 19th through the 22nd.
You know what frustrates me the most? And Telly, on our show, I've been very public about this. People that said, it was just a debate. Calm down.
Yeah.
Don't get all caught up. It was one debate. And I was like, Telly, it's over.
Yeah.
And then another thing that frustrates me is I've seen a lot of these comments on social media where people say, I don't care if President Joe Biden has COVID or if he's deaf, dumb, and blind. All these ridiculous, exaggerated statements that, here's the thing. As of right now, former President Donald Trump has a very, very strong position in being the 47th president of the United States of America. The Democratic Party failed to communicate. They failed to be transparent and say, listen, President Joe Biden is not in the state of mind to serve this country as president of the United States for another 4 years. So we are going back to the lab, for lack of better words. We are strategizing, and we are going to be ready for the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, August 15th.
Yes, and what is amazing to me, you bring up a great point on how people are saying that, oh, it doesn't matter if he's in a wheelchair, I'm going to vote for him.
Right.
To me, it seems like you're trying to fake engineer this loyalty that you're seeing from the other party, because they have shown it doesn't matter what this dude does, they're going to be behind him.
Right.
And that's not the same type of loyalty that Democrats have for Joe Biden. And it doesn't matter how you try to engineer that. That is just something that Trump has been able to develop and establish, this cult following. And Joe Biden does not have that cult following like that.
Now, 4 hours ago, Mark Halperin, who is a reporter, he's a political analyst for Newsmax.
Very respected reporter.
Broke the story. Multiple sources outline the apparent state of play on Biden at this time. Reading this from X. Plans to announce withdrawal from nomination as early as this weekend, with Sunday most likely. John Meacham is polishing up remarks. Biden will not resign the presidency. And that's something I talked about earlier, that it doesn't make any sense. If you're not going to run, still finish out the presidency. Biden will not endorse Kamala Harris. There will be an open convention with Harris and about 3 others. Superdelegates will not be allowed to vote on the first ballot. Harris, at this point, is vetting 4 possible running mates, including Andy Beshear and possibly Shapiro. So,
again, the Democratic Party failed. They have failed during this presidential election, during a time where Americans are more vulnerable than ever before. We are very concerned, which, regardless of your partisanship, Americans overall are very concerned about the state of this country from a national security standpoint, from an economic standpoint, from a healthcare, quality education, all the variables that make America what was traditionally regarded as the best country in the world. The country where no matter where you come from, you can go to America, you can thrive, you can raise a family, you can create a business. All these things that now the Democratic Party did not position Americans to vote for a viable candidate. And now, I mean, you think about it. Telly, Dr. Ken, I haven't seen so many Republicans skipping up and down the street in my life.
God.
Skipping, cartwheeling, hopscotching.
And look at how they've been able to flip the narrative. Now,
oh my gosh.
You have what some would deem in former President Donald Trump one of the most divisive presidents in American history.
I mean, that's about within his own party.
Exactly. And now you are about to see someone take an unprecedented 3rd nomination from the Republican Party to be a candidate for the United States president, and he's about to give a speech on unity while you look across the aisle and there's so much division. Not only that you have, I mean, you can't even figure out who you want on the ticket. Now, if Joe Biden goes into the DNC and have this as an open convention, what does that say about the unity that the Democrats have, where they can't even figure out? I mean, it looks like you can't get the old man to leave.
It's strange because of this. You say unprecedented. There have been only 4 times in the entire history, the 248 years of the United States of America, where a person has run for a 3rd time. You know what's weird? Nobody is alive today when the last time that happened.
Yeah.
Also,
that is how far in history that we've come, where we now see where this guy is going to be etched in history, no matter what. Assassination attempt, running for a 3rd time, no matter what, he's there.
The reality is that this country was based on 2 things: capitalism and power. And that's why this country has been very adamant about conditioning Americans to view straight white men as leaders. The imagery of what we've been conditioned to view and regard as leadership have traditionally been straight white men.
The only leaders.
The only leaders. And here we are now. And here's the thing. Like you said, Telly, there's been so many people, just 6 months ago, I'm a Republican, but I do not support Trump, that are right now sitting across the street
holding one of them big
signs, because at the end of the day, people want to go where the winners are. And, you know, I said this earlier, Telly, and I wasn't really trying to be funny, but Dr. Ken and John McCure were cracking up. I said, of course, as a Bears fan, the Democrats are having their convention in Chicago. Yes, go where the losers are.
Yeah.
Please.
It's a culture.
I mean, I can't get away from it, Telly. I'm a Bears fan. I'm a traditionally voting Democrat, and I just feel like I'm losing in all directions.
Yeah, it is an onslaught right now.
When we come back, I have a question. Let's move to November 6th, 2024. The assumption Donald Trump won. What does the black community ask him for? The president-elect. What is it that the black community needs to come together?
I can't wait to answer that question.
Step up and say, this is what you must do. Not what we want you to do. We got a list of all these. This is what you must do.
I can't wait to answer that question. Please stay tuned for my op-ed on that question.
If he doesn't change his number.
If he doesn't change his number.
Okay.
I can't wait to answer that question.
I'm Dr. Ken Harris. We're here with Denise Thomas and Telly Hughes. Impact 2024 Inside the RNC on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth.
You're listening to Impact 2024 Inside the RNC.
One smile is great, but one smile in a community of smiles is so much better. A smile has a secret power that most people don't know about. A smile multiplies. It spreads from one person to the next, stretching across entire groups of people. Smile Train knows this and is proud to be creating a wave of smiles across the cleft lip and palate community in over 70 countries. Patients, doctors, advocates, fundraisers. Collectively, our smiles are a celebration of the transformed lives of over 1.5 million children. Learn how Smile Train is helping the cleft lip and palate community at smiletrain.org/learn. Smile Train, changing the world one smile at a time.
Calling all big thinkers. The world's climate is changing. These aren't new facts, but it means we must think in new ways about how we can live, prosper, and provide energy for our world while protecting our planet. Engineers are answering the call to create cleaner, safer, reliable energy. Solar power, harnessing the power of the sun to light all corners of the globe. Wind power, channeling a simple breeze to bring electricity to our homes. Hydropower, using the natural flow of water to generate electricity. Nuclear power, engineering advanced reactors that are safer, more reliable, and produce zero carbon emissions. Engineers are leading the way and empowering the next generation. Engineers answer the call. Brought to you by the National Academy of Engineering. Learn more at nae.edu.
Hi, I'm Kim Holderness.
And I am Penn Holderness.
And we're here to remind you to get your cancer screenings.
Now, we don't have cancer, but we do want to keep it that way.
And while you don't have to race to the doctor.
Oh, but I like races, honey, especially when they're amazing races.
I see what you did there. But you do need to make time for routine screenings. I schedule my annual mammogram and gyno appointments every year around my birthday and then treat myself to lunch.
Well, that sounds like fun. Can I get in on that? I mean, I like lunch.
Well, you have a colon and you're over 45 and you have lungs.
Yeah.
And didn't you smoke in college?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so seriously, Penn, if there is something, early detection can make all the difference.
Okay, I'll get screened.
The C word can be scary, but routine screenings for breast, cervical, colorectal, lung, and prostate cancers can detect cancer early, even before symptoms appear.
Please visit preventcancer.org to find out which cancer screenings you need.
Because early detection equals better outcomes.
You're listening to Impact 2024 Inside the RNC.
I'm Dr. Ken Harris. I'm here with Denise Thomas and Telly Hughes. So, anybody remember my question?
Somebody's been sizzling over here.
Before we left, would you like to repeat the question and then answer the question? I see, because I don't want to ask the question again, because I've seen fire come out of people's eyes, but it was only in a movie.
If former President Donald Trump were to become the 47th President of the United States.
President-elect.
President-elect.
And it's November 6th.
What would I ask him to do in terms of the
black community?
Nothing. Because at this point, we need as a community to be focusing on local and state legislation for one.
Okay.
And number two, we need to be thinking about why is it that our dollar only stays in our community literally for 5 minutes, and everybody else's community, their dollar stays at minimum a month. We're the only community in this country that does not have a substantial, lucrative presence to where our money stays in our community. You've even got predominantly black neighborhoods where the Asians are keep their money in our community that we patronize.
Yeah.
And so
send their kids to private schools.
And send their kids on our dollar. So as far as here's where I'm at with this presidential election.
Okay.
I am focusing more on state and local legislation, but I'm also focusing on how do we as black Americans create our own versus waiting every 4 years to have this
white hope.
Yeah, and then we were talking about this during the break. So many notable black politicians. Yeah. You must stand with President Biden.
Why?
He's a fighter. We must be loyal to him. Why?
Yeah.
When all of these white people are going, hey, dude, we're dumping you. And I mean up in the food chain as it relates to senators and congressmen and women who are saying no.
Yeah. What I would ask is for the black community to write out a list of demands. Stop asking. And if there's anything that you have noticed over the last 4 years, whenever we unite, things happen.
Oh yes,
things happen. When if black people didn't rally behind George Floyd and their family, some of the things that happened wouldn't have happened.
This radio station wouldn't be here.
There it is. So the power that we have, and it just seems like
so powerful.
We just either we don't understand it or we don't get the fact that we do have power, and there's power in numbers.
I think we've got so many things whirling around in our own tornado that we call life that we can't see beyond. We just want to get to the eye of the storm. Mm-hmm. Everything around us is swirling. That we can't get through that.
I mean, think about it. You're looking at an 81-year-old white man who's been a career politician who, by the way, his existing Madam Vice President called him a racist when they were both running for. And then you've got on the other side, you've got a presidential candidate who is about to accept the GOP nomination, who just 2 weeks ago, and again, the delivery wasn't as healthy as it could have been, but said, hey, we got immigrants coming in taking the black jobs. Mm-hmm. And, this is what we have as options of leadership as it pertains to being black. And so for me, when I look at what's happening in the city of Milwaukee, you had 2 43-year-old black men killed. And I mean, that's from my lens and from my perspective, murdered. One was fatally shot. One was murdered just like George Floyd, hands to the neck and the back by security officers. And then you have state legislation removing programs that directly impact our community. If anything, I'm focusing more on holding those individuals accountable and demanding from them. But as far as the presidential election, once again, we have put way too much loyalty and dependency in the Democratic Party that this election, they failed us. Yeah. They failed us at the presidential level, the White House communications, the campaign. They have failed black America. And if you really want to go there as a black woman, every time there is a Democratic candidate, they rely on the black woman vote because they know that we are loyal. We're going to go to the polls and we're going to show up and we're going to show out and vote. And that's ultimately why Joe Biden picked Kamala Harris to be his running mate, as well as a Supreme Court justice. Now, fast forward back today, July 18th of 2024. Like I said, I'm disappointed. I'm very hurt. I'm confused, and as I've said on Truth Be Told with DT and Telly, I don't know who I'm voting for.
Well, part of the issue I see.
I'm voting, I just don't know who.
Here's part of the issue I see. When the Biden campaign melts down, well, I guess it's already melted.
I mean, say it. This is truth. Like, seriously,
when it melts down,
yes,
and he quits, and somebody else, and that's in shambles, that's going to ricochet throughout congressional seats, Senate seats, local elections, because if I'm tired of voting Democrat, I'm not voting Democrat. In many states, if I vote this ticket, I can only vote for the folks in that line. So I can't flip back to Democrat and then vote for Denise Thomas and Telly Hughes.
I ain't never got to worry about my name being on anybody's ballot.
I'm stuck.
Ever.
You know, opposition research, we're done. I can't.
And you know what else, Dr. Ken?
So the impact is going to trickle down to those local elections where people are going to start losing.
Speaking of impact, you know something else too. Let's just get this off of us. Since we're here at 8 o'clock at night during the Republican National Convention, you know, earlier, and I can't recall her exact title, but she's a communication lead for the Democratic Party, and she was on The Truth this morning, and she was saying things like, and if she were sitting here telling you, I'd ask her the same thing. Why do y'all keep saying Joe Biden is fighting for us? Yeah. He can barely walk down the stairs. Yeah. He can't even remember the name of Madam Vice President, calling her Vice President Trump. Quit telling black people, because here's the thing, black people, one thing that we are not new to is fighting.
Yes.
We come from an enslaved group of people that built this country with their bare hands, sun up to sundown. We are the most resilient, powerful fighters that year after year after year, decade after decade, century, have tried to keep black people down in this country. And yet we've already had an elected black president. Quit telling black people that Joe Biden is fighting for us. Yeah. We know what a fight looks and feels like. That man is not fighting for us.
He's barely walking.
Yeah.
And so again, the Democratic Party failed. They failed, and now it's too late for 2024 election. Now they need to go back to the lab and start identifying people that they can groom and prepare to be a viable candidate for 2028.
And this was something that should have been started in 2020, because it's not like, I mean, it's like Christmas. You knew how old he was. You knew he was only going to get older.
2018.
Yeah. So it's the same date every year. So you knew at the end of this term he would be 81 years old going on 82.
I want you to
know that.
Exactly. I want you to look at your cousin or your uncle or auntie that said, oh, it's just one debate.
Yeah.
He gonna be all right. I want you to look at your auntie and uncle and brother, cousin that said, oh, man, we fighting for Joe. I'd rather vote for him than vote for, a convicted felon. Where are we now? We have no one.
And what's so amazing to me is the Trump campaign, even to the point of Eric Trump, who joined us on Truth Be Told with DT and Telly this morning, how he sat up there and said that after his dad was convicted, that made him more relatable.
It did. Unfortunately, it did.
Why do you say that?
Think of all those white convicted felons who spent their time. I mean, he got hood rep.
But that is amazing to me.
Him and 50 Cent.
I mean, to me,
both have been shot, and both are convicted felons.
To me,
I'm just saying.
I'm really going to. It's offensive as a black man to say that's the only way that I can relate to you, because
very much so.
I don't have a record. I can't relate to you.
Right.
I mean, I have a degree. I can't relate to you. You don't have a degree. And so my point is, like, why is becoming a convicted felon or having a mug shot? I don't have a mug shot. I can't relate. So for you to sit here and say, yeah, that's when people connected. It took a crime for you to be committed and convicted of. This ain't the first crime you've been committed.
Well, don't.
It's just the first crime you've been convicted of.
Don't forget poverty.
So come on.
When we think poverty, we just automatically think black.
So going back to your original question, Dr. Ken, what do I want former President Trump to do if he's reelected? Nothing. I don't need to continue to rely on the President of the United States in terms of my people and, quite frankly, my family's prosperity in this country as an American. It is time for us to get smarter, wiser in terms of how we utilize the power of our vote at both the local and state level. This right now that we're witnessing here on the Jumbotron as we are covering the Republican National Convention live, do you know what we're looking at? A celebration.
Yep.
That is what you call a victory party.
And it's not even premature.
Yeah.
I look at the Democratic Party before we go to break, and I think of it. You remember, who was it, Bush, that said we're a city on a hill, we're the light on a shining hill, right? Democratic Party is like darkness in a deep valley.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot see any, you know how you get to that point and you're at like how many electoral points, how many electoral votes, you need, like 212 or something like that, and you're at 209. And they're looking at the other person and they're going, they have literally no viable way of winning. That if they won all of the outstanding
and that's
votes,
where we are as a Democratic
they still
Party.
wouldn't make
Exactly.
it over the top. And it sounds like that's where the Democratic Party
Oh, there's no sounding. And you can tell the frustration in my voice because I feel somewhat, again, bamboozled. You know, it's like, listen, we knew that.
It feels like that referendum with MPS, right? $252 million. All you got to do is.
It's been a rough year for black folks. It really has in this country, in the city, and
now they got Hulk Hogan. I'm telling you, at the DNC, they better bring out Chance the Rapper or somebody, Chicago legend.
Who gonna come out?
I don't know. Well, first
who am I cheering for?
Cool Mo D.
Who am I?
Cameo.
Ow! Word up.
Denise Thomas.
Yo, we got all kind of folks in here laughing at us because we over here clowning.
From BT and Kelly in the morning on the amazing, the magnanimous.
You gotta laugh to keep from crying. I'm sorry, y'all. You really do.
Might go get the Temptations.
I'm Dr. Ken Harris.
OJ's.
At this point, we'll be laughing so hard.
Whenever you call me, I'll be there. Man, quit. You need to quit. What's the lyrics? We've come to the fork in the road.
We have lost control, and we're going to take a break. You're listening to Impact 2024 inside the RNC on 101.7 The Truth.
You're listening to Impact 2024 inside the RNC.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because when people don't have to worry about where their next meal is coming from, they can truly thrive, like Marta.
And now we'll hear from our class valedictorian, who with our hard work never ceases to amaze us. Please welcome Marta Moreno.
And Alex.
Hey, Alex, how did the interview go?
I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
I knew it. Let's meet up later to celebrate.
And Diego.
Mom! I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow. feedingamerica.org/actnow. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
One smile is great, but one smile in a community of smiles is so much better. A smile has a secret power that most people don't know about. A smile multiplies. It spreads from one person to the next, stretching across entire groups of people. Smile Train knows this and is proud to be creating a wave of smiles across the cleft lip and palate community in over 70 countries. Patients, doctors, advocates, fundraisers. Collectively, our smiles are a celebration of the transformed lives of over 1.5 million children. Learn how Smile Train is helping the cleft lip and palate community at smiletrain.org/learn. Smile Train, changing the world one smile at a time.
We weren't sure adoption would happen for us, but when it did, it happened threefold.
Mary and her husband first met their 3 children when they became their foster parents.
Little did they know that their house would become the siblings' forever home.
We had to help them adjust to the idea that they wouldn't have to leave. Children in foster care have lived and survived so much. We had to help them process their trauma. And now to hear our children say that they know they have a mother and father who take care of us, teach us, and love us means everything.
The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption is committed to finding safe, permanent homes for the longest waiting children in foster care.
I not only love these kids, I am just so proud of them.
You can help. Visit davethomasfoundation.org.
You're listening to Impact 2024, Inside the RNC.
I'm Dr. Ken Harris. I'm here with Denise Thomas and Telly Hughes. We are Impact 2024 Inside the RNC. We're going to take a peek. We're going to head over to the Fiserv Forum, and we're going to let you listen to part of the speech by Hulk Hogan.
But I just had to give you a little taste. You know, my name is Terry Bollea. And as an entertainer, I love you too. And as an entertainer, I tried to stay out of politics. But after everything that's happened to our country over the past 4 years and everything last weekend, I can no longer stay silent. I'm here tonight because I want the world to know that Donald Trump is a real American hero. And I'm proud to support my hero as the next president of this United States. You know, guys, I've known Donald Trump for over 35 years. You know, hold on a second, hold on. I just had a flashback. Man. This is really tripping. You know, the last time I was up on stage, Donald Trump was sitting at ringside at the Trump Plaza. I was bleeding like a pig, and I won the world title right in front of Donald J. Trump. And you know something? He's going to win in November, and we're all going to be champions again when he wins. And like I said, I've known that man for over 35 years, and he's always been the biggest patriot, and he still is. He's always told you exactly what he thought, and he still does, brother. And no matter the odds, he always finds a way to win. And when he's back in our White House, America is going to start winning again.
And we have Hulk Hogan, who is...
he ain't stay in the White House the first time, did he?
And I didn't stay in the White House the first time. But,
Telly, if I ever in life say, Telly, I just had a flashback. Cut my mic off immediately, because ain't no telling what's going to come out of my mouth. Be like, cut mic cut. Yeah.
And so we've been here for 5 days. All that we've heard, all that we've seen, everything is a culmination of tonight's 9 o'clock speech. Would you have thought when we filled out all that paperwork to say, hey, we want to go to the RNC, and we got to fill all this paperwork and do all did we have any inkling that we would have a debate like we had, an assassination attempt like we had, RNC like we had? It has been an event-filled several months.
Yes, and we talked about it. Even if all of these things didn't happen, it was going to be historic.
Yep.
But now you look at the history books. We've talked a lot about this on our show. This is what you're going to be teaching our kids for hundreds of years to come. This is a part of American history. This is going to be the forever question to the trivia question: where did Donald J. Trump first appear after his assassination attempt? It's going to be Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and that answer is going to be sketched in stone forever. And so all of this, everything that is going on right now, it is a piece of history. And oftentimes, you don't know that you're a part of history until after the fact. But that has been the most exhilarating thing for me all week long, is knowing every minute I am living in real time a piece of history, not just something that people are going to remember 5-6 months from now. We're talking hundreds of years from now. They're going to be talking about this Republican National Convention.
And, you know, I will say this, and Telly, you and I have had offline conversations. At the end of the day, Black people needed to be here at the Republican National Convention because number one, we're Americans. There are a number, and Dr. Ken, I'm sure you've been a witness to this too. I've seen a number of Black people, registered Republicans, and you know, a number of
shameless about it too.
Oh, very shameless. And, you know, a lot of times people will say things like, well, how are you at the RNC? You Black. How are you supporting? Here's the thing. The more and more that we enter rooms that have traditionally been where we were rejected, the fact that you and I and Dr. Ken can sit here and provide live coverage of the Republican National Convention as American citizens, which is right now the most viewed broadcast anywhere in the world right now, is the Republican National Convention. And we're here broadcasting live, representing our community, both as Black American citizens as well as Black broadcasting journalists. I'm honored and I'm appreciative that we all can be here. And the more and more that I've interacted with Republicans here that are not Black, that might have been the first time they've actually had an intimate interaction on the level that they've had. And not that I'm looking for validation or permission from non-Black people, but it is good to let them know we're here, we're educated, we aren't always angry. We love our city of Milwaukee. We welcome you. You know, I've been very intentional about asking people who appear to be looking for direction. Do you need any direction? You know, talking about Milwaukee, because again, this is just as my country as it is yours. My ancestors built this country. Yes, I am going to be at the RNC. And as far as our interview this morning, Telly, with Eric Trump, my father, he was joking, but he's serious because, you know, Papa T, I tell him all the time, don't leave the house, Daddy, because, you know, you can't say what you say. But, you know, he said, baby girl, he's like, I was so proud of you. And he said the fact that you never know, he said Eric Trump may have needed to have that kind of a conversation and engagement that he had with you and Telly in Milwaukee on a Black Talk radio station. Because Truth Nation, we are the only Black Talk radio station here representing the state of Wisconsin at the RNC.
That's right.
And so kudos to you, Dr. Ken. Kudos to you, Telly. I'm going to be like Snoop. I want to thank me, too, because we are a part of history. We did not have to be here. You know, when Dr. Ken was talking about it was a very invasive process, but at the end of the day, for me, it was an obligation as a Black person who lives in this country to be here at the Republican National Convention.
And real quick, I know we have to go to break, Dr. Ken, but the final thought, what I have on this, and truth be told, and not to copy off of our show, but in 2020, Donald J. Trump had 80 million votes. You would be absolutely insane to think that all 80 million voters were white people.
Exactly.
And
that's all I got.
Now that we're in 2024, we know those 100 million votes ain't all white people.
There you go.
And I think it's incumbent upon us as the truth to just simply present the facts. You make the choice that you want. You make the decision that you want. It's not my job to pontificate about either party.
That's our mission statement of our show.
Yes.
That
we've never endorsed any candidate.
You know, I've been accused of being conservative because I support, you know, family and not doing this or doing that. And I go, but how did that become a Republican thing or a conservative thing?
Exactly.
Taking care of your family, making sure you pay your bills, making sure, you know, you struggle like everybody else. But when did that become like third or fourth place, and first place is do whatever you want to do.
And it shouldn't. I will say this, Dr. Canatelli, the Congressional Black Caucus is having their annual legislative convention in D.C. September 11th through the 15th. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm going and I got questions. Usually I just go there for the parties, but this year I'm going to go. I'm like, oh, they're going to be like,
all the plenary
what?
sessions.
Does anybody have any questions or comments?
They're going to be looking over you.
Right. And they're going to Denise.
Okay.
What'd you say, Telly? Don't ask her anything.
For question number 572, Denise Thomas.
You know, Telly, you know my favorite question. I'm going to be like this. How did we get here?
Yeah.
How did we get here? You are listening to the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. We are broadcasting live from the Republican National Convention. Stay locked in. We've got more to come. We'll be back.
You're listening to Impact 2024 inside the RNC.
It's that time of the year, Truth Nation, for our Truth Walk Against Violence. Violence is a problem which impacts all of us, but together we can make a difference. This is why I need you to join me and the Truth Team on Saturday, July 20th from 8:30 a.m. to noon for our second annual Walk Against Violence. Food will be provided by Cousin Subs. Join our Walk Against Violence Saturday, July 20th. Visit 1017thetruth.com to sign up today. Together, we can bring an end to violence. The Truth Walk Against Violence is sponsored by Cousin Subs. Better bread, better subs, Cousin Subs.
Attention, Milwaukee County. When it comes to stroke, every second counts. Remember to be fast. B-E-F-A-S-T.
B, balance. Are you having trouble with coordination or balance? E, eyes. Sudden blurred or double vision. Have you lost sight in one eye or both? F, face drooping. Is your smile lopsided or your face numb or drooping? A, arm weakness. Are you having difficulty reaching for things? Does your arm drift downward when placed in front of you? S, speech difficulty. Is it difficult to speak? Try saying, the sky is blue. Does that come out correctly? T, terrible headache. Are you having pain in your head? Experiencing more than one of these symptoms? Time to call 911.
Remember, recognizing these signs and acting fast can save a life. If you or someone you know experiences these symptoms, don't wait. Call 911 immediately. This message is brought to you by the Milwaukee County Office of Emergency Management. Stay informed, stay safe.
More than 6 million kids in the U.S. have ADHD, and many aren't getting the support they need. At understood.org, we can help. Sometimes in class, the only thing your child can focus on are the thoughts racing through their head.
Why am I always falling behind? Why do I feel so alone? So different.
Your child is looking to you for answers. But as a parent, you probably have a lot of questions too. What should I do next? Where do I even start? At understood.org, we provide parents with the resources they need to help kids with ADHD thrive. Your child wants to thrive. Be the reason they do. Visit understood.org/the reason to get started.
Earth Justice is a national legal nonprofit fighting to save lives, protect our climate, and strengthen our economy through the shift to zero emissions. Visit us at earthjustice.org. Earth Justice, because the Earth needs a good lawyer.
Happy kids heal faster, and that's why Starlight is dedicated to improving the mental well-being of sick kids across the U.S. Learn how at starlight.org.
For general contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com.
You're listening to Impact 2024 inside the RNC.
I'm Dr. Ken Harris. I'm here with Telly Hughes and Denise D.T. Thomas. And we are at Impact 2024, literally inside the RNC. So, you know, as people start to disconnect and shut down and move all their equipment out and all that, we still got another, I don't know, 2 hours worth?
Huh?
Of,
we're not gonna be here 2 hours, Doctor. You almost gave me a heart attack.
Can I finish?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Out of your mind.
I thank you, whoever the producer is. Thank you, because that's what I was thinking.
It's like it's Sunday night all over again. It's you know, for another couple of hours, because you know, we love to say, hey, my speech is this long, or I wrote this many pages, but every other word, my name is Donald Trump. They going to applaud for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I came to such and such. He's going to mention Butler, Pennsylvania. They're going to apply for another 5 minutes. So they're going to add.
That's what's going to sound like every time he speaks.
Every time. So they're going to add.
Who is our producer? I'm loving this person.
Zach.
DJ Brother Z.
King Brother Zach
Alex. Because I hate those inserts. I can't stand it. No, I'm just teasing. But those things.
Yeah.
Every single time they're going to add it, and it's going to get longer and longer.
Oh, yeah.
Now
Go get some coffee.
It's already 9:45 on the East Coast. In England, it's what?
About 3 o'clock.
About 3 o'clock.
Yeah, 3:45.
So.
Oh, this is easily going to last for I would say close to 2:15.
Easy.
Now, Truth Nation, the good news is that after you finish watching all this, the bars are going to be open until 4 o'clock. It's Friday Eve, too?
Yeah.
Now, look, Telly and I went outside last night. Telly, I can't do it tonight.
Yeah.
We got to be on air. We got to be on air.
Yeah. I was telling my wife, I didn't even drink last night, but when I woke up, I felt like I was drinking. I said, I should have had some drinks last night.
You know what it was? Getting into, first of all, the fact that I had to have one of the most, because I've had a few, intrusive background checks you've ever had in your life.
Yeah.
Just to go through the crap.
Check or
to just go through the crap we went through to get
Dr.
here.
Ken, what you say? Look, they told me things about me that I didn't know. I was like, I did that when? I forgot about that. You wore patent leather Shirley Temple shoes when you boarded the flight to see your grandmother in 1981. I was like, I did? And you were chewing Bubblicious cherry gum. Word?
Now, that is something I'm not going to miss come tomorrow.
No. Not at all. Coming through that, going in and going out.
Hey, the last time I came through the checkpoint, you know how relatives, after you stay with them a few days, they're like, hey, so when you leaving?
No, wait, what you got going on?
Like, when you leaving? So are you asking?
What time your flight?
So I asked him, I asked one of them, I said, so what time y'all getting out of here? And he was quick to say, he said AM flight.
They can't wait.
I say, well, look.
They can't wait.
We want y'all to leave as bad as y'all want to go.
Are you ready for this? I was going to try to leave today.
Oh, no.
The flight, just one-way flight from MKE, Milwaukee General Mitchell Airport, to Dallas-Fort Worth, $1,267.
Oh, yeah.
So they know you're leaving the RNC.
But check this out, to your point, Dr. Ken. So then I said, okay, well, let me go down the street. From O'Hara to DFW, guess how much it was?
$1,150.
No, $250.
Oh, wow.
So DT will be Ubering to O'Hara tomorrow after the show and going back to Dallas.
Well, it's an honor to fly out of restricted airspace.
It's an honor?
It must be for $1,200.
I was going to say, for $1,200.
That better be a first class
Me and Eric
ticket.
need to be on that flight again, having part 2 of our interview from this morning for $1,200. I better be on Trump Force One for $1,200.
I think there's the other side of him that might have something to say about that, if I'm not mistaken.
What do you mean?
Nothing. I'll just let you and Mr. Blue Eyes.
Let me tell you something. As a 48-year-old single black woman who has yet to be invited by a brother, at this point, you could be Kermit the Frog. And if you talking about...
Wow.
Hey, Miss Piggy and Kermit broke up.
Wow.
So he's a single man.
Yeah, if you was dating Miss Piggy, you'd have broke up too.
And we digress. Okay, we are broadcasting live from the 2024 Republican National Convention. Dr. Ken, and in all seriousness, because one of the things I do appreciate about you is your intellect. You've had experiences from both the law enforcement side. You've been involved in certain levels of elections. What has been your overall take? If you had to just give like a 1-minute op-ed of Milwaukee hosting the most televised, most watched, viewed Republican National Convention. I'll just say National Convention in its totality, whether it was whatever party. What is your 1-minute op-ed in terms of what you've seen, what you've experienced, and what are you leaving with as we close out the last day of the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee?
I'm leaving with an understanding that power is what the black community needs. We already have it. We don't exercise it and use it in a way that benefits us, regardless of who is in office. I see our counterparts, racially, financially, use money on both sides, make payments on both sides, so that no matter who's in office, if I give DT and if I give Telly $25, it don't matter who wins. I have a voice. And I think that's what we're missing. We're missing the power of the voice.
I'm going to add to that and say we're also missing effective leadership. And I'm not going to go into any names. I'm not going to go there because, we have enough content every day on the Truth Be Told with DT and Telly Morning Show that we literally are analyzing leadership at both a local and state level daily.
Right.
But we do need to reevaluate how we regard leadership as black people in this country.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And it can no longer be older, straight, Christian,
Right.
and I say that because
it has to be inclusive.
It has to be, and it has to be in order for
they're being inclusive.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. No argument.
Yeah.
One of my takeaways from this entire convention, and it has been so eye-opening, but I think that you have to study your opponents.
Great point.
And in any competition, you have to have a scouting report. There is a reason why in any team they study their opponent. Any boxer, they study their opponent. How are you going to attack? And then how can I counterattack? And this whole Democratic, we're going to run our race and we're going to take the high road. This ain't working. It ain't working.
No.
And a lot of times you have to make the adjustment at halftime.
Right.
Patriots were down 21-3. They ended up beating the Falcons because what did they do?
Right.
They made adjustments. Their first original game plan wasn't working.
Right.
And that's exactly where we are right now.
The Bears and the Lions, we was up like 20. I'm sorry. And I know we had won, and I turned around and we lost.
And this whole, I'm putting the country first, and I wouldn't be in this position if I didn't feel like I was fit. That ain't working.
Or here's my favorite one that just makes my skin just crawl. We beat him before, we'll beat him again.
Well,
and look where we are.
I'm going to take it from both DT and Telly, and I'm going to use a sports analogy. Politics is sports, and sports is a team exercise.
Absolutely.
That team is winning.
Very much so. And again, just the synergy. And that was one of the questions that we had presented to Eric Trump. That synergy that you feel from the time that you leave the UWM Panthers Arena is victorious, is celebratory.
And I'm so glad you brought that up because shout out to DJ Brother Z. Before I walked over here from our studio, we were having this exact same conversation. And he said, Telly, I have not been over there. I've been in this studio producing the entire time, but I can feel the energy all the way over here. And DJ Brother Z basically is locked in a booth in a box, back there pushing the buttons.
And for him to feel it.
For him to feel it and not even be in a part of it, even though he's 100 feet from it. And so that just shows you the power. So if he can feel it there, you can't even begin to imagine what we are feeling being in the heartbeat of the RNC.
And think about something Sherwin Hughes said, that he even felt welcome, knowing that this is not his thing.
Isn't that crazy? I feel the same way.
He said, he said he did not expect this.
And to add on to Sherman's point, it was funny because this morning when I was walking around, people were like, good morning. And I'm like, good morning, like I'm visiting.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. I said that like I don't live here.
Like you don't belong here.
Right,
and
it's my city. So it's and again, if as we get ready, as we prepare to hear former President Donald Trump give his acceptance speech for the nomination of the GOP party, the Republican Party, I guarantee you, Telly and Dr. Ken, the theme, the feel of his remarks will be from a person who has already proclaimed victory, has already proclaimed that I am going to be the 47th president of the United States. He's not going to come out with any type of agenda. Like, for example, when President Barack Obama, before he even put his hat in the ring during the Democratic National Convention of 2004, he introduced himself as a new, fresh, innovative face for the Democratic Party. I come from a biracial family. My father's from Africa. I was raised by a single parent. He did that to really connect as someone who was a freshman to the large-scale politics. This man right here?
This man right here is hot as fish grease right now. And that was the reason why. That was the reason why I asked Eric Trump, who is speaking right now, my last question to him this morning was, how do you sustain this momentum? Because they are rolling right now. Yeah. And how do you keep this going all the way up until November? We're going to find out.
Can I keep it real with y'all real quick?
We got 1 minute.
Can I just keep it real? Because this is the truth, right? I'm not going to lie. If you would have said to me 2 years ago, maybe even a year ago, that I would be sitting next to
be here?
Well, sitting next to Eric Trump and just kind of like, yeah, okay. And it was like,
are you out of your damn mind?
I know. The Trump family, they are very charismatic. Like, it wasn't what I expected. I was expecting to feel like this arrogant, conceited. He was very apologetic. I mean, he was sincere, too. He was like, look, man, I'm sorry I had to cancel last minute. And then when he sat down, I was like, now I see why people.
Hey,
yeah, because he has that Clinton charisma, that very Clinton-like. So. You are listening to the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. It is Dr. Ken from Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken, DT and Telly from The Morning Show. We are giving you live coverage of the Republican National Convention. Stay locked in. We'll be back.
We will not be back.
Are we done?
This is it.
Oh, okay, well,
we are out.
Go ahead, Telly. Give them what you do every time we close our show.
You got 4 seconds.
Peace out.
I'm out. God bless. Take care. See you tomorrow.
The 101.7 The True Street Team, sponsored by UW Credit Union, is coming to an event near you. Saturday is a full day of fun with The Truth. We kick the day off with our Walk Against Violence starting at 10 a.m. at Victory Over Violence Park. Then we want you to join us from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. as we will be at the annual Garfield Days Festival celebration at 502 West Garfield Avenue. This festival will have live music, food, and great activities for the entire family. The 101.7 The True Street Team is sponsored by UW Credit Union. They are here for every you.
Welcome to another episode of Analysis, man.
From Buck superstar Giannis.
And then I'm going to Chris at the time. What did coach mean? What do you...
And even Green Bay QB Jordan Love. There's only one call for these conversations.
I've never been in a Lambo, and I have to, right? What is this Lambo league?
Tune in to the Thanalysis Show, presented by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. Find it today on Apple, Spotify, and anywhere you get podcasts.
Calling all big thinkers. The world's climate is changing. These aren't new facts, but it means we must think in new ways about how we can live, prosper, and provide energy for our world while protecting our planet. Engineers are answering the call to create cleaner, safer, reliable